Hey guys, let me know if you can hear me. Hey JB. Let me just turn this on. Hi guys. Hi McKay. Hi Mary. Hi Doc. Hey Tony. Hey Mocha. Awesome. Okay, yeah. I was unexpecting. So many documents. This is insane. I don't know if you guys have heard. I mean, y'all saw the thumbnail. 319 pages plus a separate thingamabobber. So this will be interesting. So we'll do what we always do. We'll give it like 5 minutes. I don't know if we're going to get through this whole thing though, guys. Not today. Probably not, because no. There's just no way. I've got to do dinner with the kids. I've got other things I have to do. This will probably be a 2-part situation. I might have to go live again tomorrow after work. Hey everybody. Hey Kelly. Hey April. Hey Penny. Hey Sonia. Hey Catherine. Hey you. Hey architect. Hey Tracy. Hey Rhonda. Hey Chris. Hey DeQuinto. I hope I said that right. Hey Rachel. We have the same middle name. Thank you. Hey Donna. Hey Leslie. Hey Claire. Yeah, 319 pages, guys, and another one. Oh, thank you. I just got the bathtub. Look, my whole day got rearranged. I was supposed to go and take a walk when I got off work, but it was raining, so I was like, okay, well, whatever. I'm just gonna take a bath, and then I was gonna watch the family's response to the JP Miller interview. Okay. So I have to watch that after we're done with this. Like before I go to bed, I'll just record myself watching that because that's going to be a wild one. Hey, Holly Mary. Hey, Sarah. Have you? I'm assuming you've skimmed through it. I looked through a little bit of it while I was taking a bath, but I have no idea. 319 pages is a lot. Coffee cake sounds good. I have my coffee. I have my coffee in my little Doge cup. I knew I was going to need coffee because this is a lot. This is a lot. My hair, that's funny. My hair won't even hold color anymore. I really want to like grow my sides out some, but I'm scared about how it's gonna look because it's gonna be like fluffy and strange. And so I'll just keep cutting it. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Hey, Beboppity Bop. I like that name. Just D. Okay. Hey, Tracy. What's up, Cyber Ninja? You know, I think my sister has a tattoo like that. I'm pretty positive she has a big old tattoo like that. Hey, Nikki. Hey, yes, actually live, not pre-recorded. I've done a couple of these, but it's mainly for like this kind of stuff, documents and like hearing review. I try not to go live too much. I would like to be able to go live more on Sundays, but I always have so much stuff I have to do on the weekends with the kids. Hey, Misty. Hey, Carolyn. Hey, Rain. Yeah, 319 pages. Look, I only pay like I think like $6 or $7 a month for my HP printer, whatever. And I printed so much. I printed so much the other day in the Idaho case just to like catch up that they ended up charging me like $25 for the next billing cycle because I went over so many pages. I was like, dang. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. Hey Scott, hey. Yes, coffee. Coffee. And children old enough to be able to make it for me if I run out and need more. So that's great. Hey, Lauren. Hey, Tay. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Stats Patriot. It's been a couple of crazy weeks, hasn't it? Yeah, I just can't. This is just insane. Okay, we're about to get started. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to like just I never go anywhere. Like I'm going to the grocery store if I forget something in a pickup order and that's it. Like we really never go anywhere ever. So I've just been trying to like work on my like mental health by actually like getting ready and stuff in the morning. And yeah, I was just like whatever after I got the bathtub. I was like this is just we're just going to get on here like this. Yeah, I loved it whenever I was still in the 6-month free trial. No, I'm not. I'm out of that. But I did some printing when I was in that free trial. Hey. Okay. All right. We're at 5 minutes. All right. Let me show you guys. Oh, man. I know. Even my dad, I've been texting my 70-year-old Vietnam vet dad about this crazy stuff. We've got some messages. Okay. Let's just go ahead and get started because there's some stuff. We're going to start. I'm going to show you. Let me say, I will show you 319 pages right here. Okay. I have no idea if it's a lot of repeated forms like a lot of the search warrant drops were, because they have like standard forms and then there's only like a few in the middle where it actually has the specific information. I've got no clue. So we're going to look through it together and see about all of that. But we're going to end up going through this one first because it's only 2 pages and it'll knock some of the, I guess, suspense out for who's actually going to show up as a witness. Now, again, this is only for the change of venue. And something that I had been wanting to do is go back and clip out all of the actual like PowerPoint presentation that the doctor, I think Edelman, is that his name? He's the first one up here. Yeah. That he did. That's what I've been meaning to do for like a long, super time, but there's always like other stuff to talk about. So I haven't done it, but we're going to before the 29th because yeah, it's a novel. It's a novel. Wait, something was gone from it? See, it's so hard to like keep up with comments because I don't know if something is like missing or not. Because I just pulled this from it. But yeah, I know that's another thing. You talk about stuff that actually disappears. Oh, I know. There's stuff that disappears all the time, which is another reason I really do try to print it as soon as I see it. Yeah, that's how you like keep facts and stuff for sure. For sure. It's hard to keep up. It's so much. Okay. Anyway. The hearing is August 29th, so we still have like a good month. I'll do that one live. We'll go over, I'll get it all clipped together and we'll go through it live. Because remember, that's the one where Santa made his star, his starring debut where he was not very happy about it. So we're definitely gonna have to go over that before they have the hearing. So for the hearing itself, and I'm guessing this could change, maybe if it's important enough, maybe, I don't know. But so far they have Brian Edelman, who is the change of venue guy who did the survey. That was a whole debacle, right? Then James Todd Murphy. Does anybody know who in the heck that is? Anybody at all? Because I don't know who that is. Well, I mean, that's fine, but I don't know. There's 1,000 different stories, so I don't know. I'm just waiting for the autopsies to finally be released, if that ever happens. No idea. Okay, so that's something that we're going to have to look at. I like doing things old school, so I'm just going to get my handy dandy notebook out and write some things down. This is just what we want to do. I'm not one of those millennials that is good with organizing electronically, so I write a lot of stuff down. We're going to look up who this person is. And why in the world is Todd in parentheses? Like, it almost kind of feels like it's like another name he went by for some reason, which is kind of strange, right? I don't know. Okay. Armani El Alaya, who is a PhD. You know what? I'm just going to like, copy. Let me see if it can tell me who these people are. Okay. So she is a psychology professor. And I have to be careful what I click on because I can't have my like location pop up for several different reasons. So I'm like not going to be like clicking around too much. But she's a psychology person. We'll dig more into that in separate videos. So let's go back to this. And now we're going to grab this and see if James Todd Murphy in any sort of strange parentheses pops up anything. And if it does, I'll show you guys. Patrick Todd Murphy. Some sort of somebody in Virginia getting arrested for something. I'm not about to show information that I don't know is factual. So we have to figure that out. Is that what that is? Media monitoring? Media monitoring? I can't even talk. Media monitoring. Hey, Legendary. Hey. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to check for sure. Okay. And then Dr. Veronica DeHeer. It says that she may be called as a rebuttal witness. Okay, so let me check this person. Social research at the University of Nevada. That's pretty much like the same. I think I can show you this. Yeah. Social research at Nevada. So I don't know like what they're going to be. Oh, okay. So then it shows disclosures is going to be the Moscow Police Department press releases, motion for filing under seal pending. Interesting. Live press releases and interviews to be hand delivered 7/22/24. Okay, well that was yesterday. Why would they need that to be like hand delivered to something? Don't they have all that online? Like that's all online and on their website, right? Like on Moscow PD's actually like website. Can y'all see this, by the way? Like I can make it bigger. I want y'all to be able to see this stuff too. And I am. I don't even know. Can y'all? I don't even know. Let me see. Can y'all hear me if I remove my? Okay, well that's poop. Okay. Okay, see, I thought you were being sarcastic, and I was like, oh, that's whatever. Okay, dang. All right, whatever. It's fine. Can y'all see it though? Like it's okay, y'all can see it. Okay, so they removed them all. I actually, you know what? I can't remember the last time I actually checked to see if they were there because I feel like we have them. Hey, hey. So yeah, that's interesting. So did they get removed because now they're admissible evidence? Like, is that reason for them to be removed from the public, even though the public already has them like in thousands of copies? Because now they're admissible evidence. Would that be a reason for them to get rid of them? Hey, Moonvale. See, that's crazy. Okay. I mean, it makes sense, but yeah. Okay, then Exhibit B, the declaration from Dr. Edelman and his credentials, which we already have from previously and pretty positive. And then a PDF of the PowerPoint, which we're going to go over, survey analysis and list of the local media stories. That also should have been hand delivered yesterday. So we know kind of what he did for the local one for Latah County. Hey, Jesse. Okay, yeah. I'll check their site here in a minute. I'll take a look at it. Okay. Oh my, I won't stop twitching. Okay. Okay, yeah. So we know what he did for the local stuff, but we don't know. I don't think we know exactly at all what other counties they looked at because I think they had to look at like 2 other counties, and that would be like different media sources. I think like obviously he'd still use the same like social media stuff, but he's also using like local news, like local media publications and stuff like that, like newspapers and stuff. TrueScope infographics and credentials of Todd Murphy. Okay, so that tells us who he works for. Let's see. Yeah, media monitoring. You were right. So this is the person and what he's going to be doing. So, ooh, that's interesting. And just because this reminded me of this, guys, the United States Postal Service, they also just like got in trouble for like leaking a lot of information to like LinkedIn and Facebook and Meta and Instagram and stuff like that. Like y'all's stuff really just is not like safe. Like at all. Like I'm not really this is not a sponsored live. It really isn't. But there's a reason why I chose Aura, and Aura really like helps you like keep your information protected, alerts you anytime anything happens. And there has been so many people that I've talked to about like the AT&T hack, the Change Healthcare hack, the stuff going on with CrowdStrike, all this stuff, and people are like clueless, and I'm just like, "Oh my goodness, I would have a heart attack if I just didn't know." No, not today. No, not today. There's no way. No way. I'm going to do it separately because I want to be able to go through the entire thing. But this is the TrueScope thing for the other witness guy. So we'll go back to this now. And then it states the list of media stories with links to the actual story to be hand delivered. And then an affidavit from Scott Sundby. He is not on the witness list. Anybody know who Scott Sundby is? Before I take a look and see, because I'm about to go check and see why this person would have an affidavit in the case. Let's see. University of Miami. Yeah. I don't know. Again, I don't want to like click on the wrong thing, but like this guy's known for being part of a movement for charging parents of crimes. I guess maybe the Crumbly case, maybe he was involved with, because that just keeps popping up, but it's like Miami. I don't know. Again, I'll go through and get like stuff together to like validate. I just don't want to show like the wrong information on accident. You know what I mean? Hey, Metalarium. Yeah, that's horrible. I actually have a video releasing tomorrow that is sponsored, and I don't even know how I came across this, but a woman just does this like gardening homesteading channel. It's not just like that kind of hacking stuff for businesses. Like we get a bunch of fake sponsors, guys. Like we get people in our emails that are trying to like get us to sponsor products, but all the links are fake. Like it's stuff to grab your information. Her story, I have like a little bit of it clipped in the video that's going to release in the morning. She literally went through the whole thing. Like she talked to people back and forth. There was negotiations for the contract, for the amount of the sponsorship. It wasn't until it was all finalized at the end and everything was written in a contract that they sent her the contract. And the second that she opened her contract, all of her information was taken. And within 5 minutes, her entire YouTube channel with over 60,000 subscribers was deleted from existence. You saw that? Man, I'm like getting chills. It makes me so upset, especially since I know for a fact everything she's saying about like YouTube and Google not doing a damn thing for her is legit. They never help at all. You do anything. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess it's just a United States one. That would make sense because we like do our credit systems and all that crazy stuff. Yeah, it's horrible. It's absolutely sad. And she had to like start all over. And I mean, that video got a lot of views, so that'll like really, really help her out. But dang, man. And they're not doing anything. Isn't that terrible? Like, I've never seen her before. I've been looking up a lot of gardening stuff, but I had never seen her channel before. And I just happened to look at that video the exact same day that they asked me to like extend my contract. And I was like, hell yeah, I just saw this crazy crap happen. I'm trying to be protected as much as I possibly can. So yeah, but I'm also like showing you like companies too are scammers as hell. Like it's bad. I get so much crazy stuff in my email, guys. Like I'm telling you, I'm picky. I have to be picky. I have to be picky. I have to. Because you just never know. You just never freaking know. And I have like companies where they have like websites that you can look at and it looks legit. And there's even like stuff that's posted on Amazon. Like, I'm telling you, so crazy. What? Oh, that's wild. That's wild. My youngest son's information actually got hacked from his dental provider. Like it was some company that went through his dental provider, and I don't know how a child in Texas has a company in Florida that is involved with anything dental wise, but somehow that's the base company for his stuff. And this is like 2 or 3 years ago. I got a postcard in the mail that his information was hacked in some dental thing, and I'm like, so I can't even take my kid to the doctor? Like, that's insane to me. Wow. Hey, Twist. Yeah, you've got to be careful. I had somebody using my social security number a long time ago. And like again, like until I actually signed up for Aura, I didn't know that my social security number was hacked and given out on the dark web from AT&T. Like, oh my goodness. Like 15,000 people probably use my information. It's ridiculous. It's just crazy. Just insane. Yeah, and you know what's crazy? I go when my dad visits, I go and get a fishing license. He has one that's like year round, but I'll go and get one just for the weekend. And they need your social security number whenever you like first sign up for it. So I'm at the sporting goods sections at Walmart, and he's just like, "What's your social security number?" Just out loud. And I'm like, "If you seriously think that I'm gonna tell you my social security number in the middle of Walmart, you out your damn head. But give me a piece of paper, and then I'm taking it with me." Like, it's not happening. Insane. It's in the it's just here, I'll type it in here. It's literally just this. And it's just for the free trial. Like, just go in there and see. Like, if you're not impressed, do whatever you got to do. Don't, you don't have to stick with it, but you have it for 2 weeks and they'll run all of your information. And within like 24 hours, it showed me anywhere that I had information that I didn't know that I had information. And then it also started working on taking information out. Yeah, I mean, for real though. My daughter just went to a camp for kids that have the same stuff that she does. And like they could take their phones, but they couldn't take them around with them. They had to, keep them in the cabins and stuff. And honestly, like I feel like her mental health is a lot better from just being like unplugged from the internet for a while. Okay, let's get back on track. Let's get back on track. Okay. So yeah, this Scott Sunby guy, again, it just looks like I'm going to show you all this. This is the only thing that pops up. I'm not sure if this is the right person or not. This kind of looks like this person, just, like difference because of the gray hair, but I'm not really quite sure. So I guess we'll see what that affidavit is whenever we get down to it. And then something else from the doctor. This is this one right here. Yeah, Amani Alila. Oh, I don't want to say the name wrong. And then another PowerPoint PDF, and then something else from Veronica to here. But that's it for this one. So we're gonna go to this big long one now. 319 freaking pages. I am just like, I don't even understand why. I mean, I guess it's important to have this many pages. I'm not really quite sure. Yeah, I mean, I was about to be super off grid. We had a piece of property off the Trinity River, but I ended up getting rid of it so that we could get where we at now. That was the point, to like homestead it and just live off the water and just not have to deal with anything. That would have been awesome. Goodness. Okay. So yeah, as you guys can see, 319 pages. Like I said, I am not probably going to go through this entire thing tonight. I have kids to feed. I have things to do. I have a job tomorrow. We will probably do this in sections because I want to get all of it out here. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to start reading this, and I'm going to skim the comments as I can, but I am also going to be trying to focus on reading this as much as possible and stopping just whenever it's important. Yeah, 319 pages. It's a lot. Yeah. Yep. The defense dropped this, which is interesting because it's a good month and a week almost before we even get to the hearing for this. So this is a lot of information. A whole lot of information. I want to see if I can. I really need to learn how to like work this better. Okay, can y'all still hear me even though I'm off the screen? Because it doesn't tell me that I'm not on here. Bye, Rain. Hey, Nicole. Because I think that it fixed it to where I can make it bigger. Okay, awesome. And I'll change it whenever it gets important and we need to talk about stuff. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right. Hey, all right. Comes now, Bryan C. Kohberger, by and through his attorneys of record, and hereby submits this memorandum in support of motion to change venue. This motion is based on the 5th, 6th, and 8th, and 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution in Article, I think that's 1. And I think, is that what that is for? All this fancy stuff. It's just crazy. 1, 6, 7, 13, and 18 of the Idaho Constitution, Idaho Criminal Rule 21, and Idaho Code 19-1801, and supporting case law. This memorandum is supported by exhibits referenced herein and attached. Witnesses will be called at the hearing. Mr. Kohberger is protected under the constitutions of the United States and the state of Idaho. His protection to a fair and impartial jury is infringed without a change of venue. A fair and impartial jury cannot be found in Latah County because of the extensive publicity that is ongoing and inflammatory. The inflammatory nature of the publicity has included inaccurate information and inadmissible information. The publicity has been extremely pervasive in the small community of Latah County. Remediations, such as enlarging the jury pool, will not cure the problem. All right, I gotta take a drink of coffee. Okay. Issues. Number 1. Bryan Kohberger cannot receive a fair trial in Latah County as protected by his rights under both the United States of Idaho constitutions because of the pervasive, this is literally the exact same thing over again. And then number 2, a change of venue is necessary under the exact same codes that they just said again. So right there, they just repeated themselves. See, we already getting a bunch of duplicate boo-boo. All right. Abbreviated factual background. Let's see how abbreviated this is, guys. Media coverage of the case that later became State versus Bryan Kohberger began in the early afternoon of November 13th of 2022 when news broke of 4 homicides in Latah County, Idaho. Extensive media coverage ensued for 6 weeks during the police investigation prior to the arrest of Mr. Kohberger. Daily updates were available from Moscow Police Department, hereinafter MPD. Why are they using our abbreviations? Why are they doing that? Often participating in the updates or press releases was the Latah County prosecutor and chief of police, James Fry. Notice they don't mention Scott Green, because Mr. Scott Green was surely like front and center, pretty much like every single one of them, right? These broadcasts were played on television, news stations, as well as print and digital media. Social media covered the investigation, with MPD updating its Facebook page and providing press releases and media statements regularly. And then there's going to be an exhibit that we do not have access to right now. MPD's investigation included law enforcement partners from Idaho State Police and FBI. Media coverage, particularly in the market covering Latah County, was replete. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend like I know how to pronounce every single word. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you right now. Nothing much, Anita. We basically just went over the what was it? The witness list and the exhibit list. And now we're going over, this is like the full first page of the document. Replete, that sounds probably right. Honestly, that's probably correct. Okay. Replete with story after story in local newspapers and news stations. Media focus did not stop with locally targeted news stations or newspapers. It extended into magazines, books, crime TV shows, and the current medium of information and opinion sharing, the internet. Did they put movies in there? Because, you know, there's apparently one becoming a situation before Christmas, a whole like 7 months before we even have trial, which is just insane to me. Insane. Immediately and consistently, the internet was abuzz with podcasts, tweets, Facebook groups, Reddit, YouTube, and TikTok postings. Once the police arrested Mr. Kohberger, the public was ready to, and has, proceeded to vilify him without regard to the constitutional guarantee of the presumption of innocence and a right to an impartial jury and fair trial. The media focus on Mr. Kohberger has been relentless and highly inflammatory. Okay, let's see. Argument. Bryan Kohberger cannot receive a fair trial in Latah County as protected by his rights under both the United States and Idaho constitutions because of the pervasive, inflammatory, and often same thing. Okay. The great value of the trial by jury certainly consists in its fairness and impartiality. Those who most prize the institution prize it because it furnishes a tribunal which may be expected to be uninfluenced by an undue bias of the mind. I have always conceived and still conceive an impartial jury is required by the common law and as secured by the Constitution must be composed of men who will fairly hear the testimony which may be offered to them and bring in their verdict according to that testimony and according to the law arising on it. This is not to be expected. Certainly, this is not to be expected. Okay. This is not to be expected. Certainly, the law does not expect it, where the jurors, before they hear the testimony, have deliberately formed and delivered an opinion that the person whom they are to try is guilty or innocent of the charge alleged against him. Well, that's normal, right? Like, that's normal that they don't want anybody on there that has an opinion that they can't change or that can't be biased. I mean, unbiased, right? Like, that's pretty normal. It seems like that's pretty normal. Okay. The states, United States versus Burr, and they're like, this is a notation that they're using from that case. The United States Constitution, through the 6th and 14th Amendment and the Constitution of the state of Idaho, guarantee an accused with a fair trial and an impartial jury. The constitutional mandate of a fair trial by an impartial jury requires a change of venue where an impartial jury cannot be impaneled in the district where the indictment is returned. Due process requires that the accused receive a trial by an impartial jury free from outside influences. I mean, honestly, it's going to take a long time, I feel, for them to be able to find people that don't really know too much about this case, just because it's like on every platform ever. Like, it's on every medium, like they just said. But then again, like we also heard, and again, you know, it's stuff that Bloom said. Bloom. Like the church guy, they don't like the cops. Like everybody with that church hates the cops, basically. So they're gonna do basically everything the opposite of what the cops want. So if they instantly don't have people that are connected to the university as part of the jury pool, like Bloom said, then that basically leaves the church people. And if that is true, then you'd think Ann Taylor would kind of want to keep it there, right? Because it would look good on her client. They're going to do whatever, the opposite of what the cops want. But then again, you don't want that either because you want it to be fair. You don't want it to be, oh, they're only going to choose this way because they don't like the police department. That's not right either, because that's not how that's supposed to work. It's supposed to be unbiased, regardless. But they are right. This case has gotten a lot of attention. But then again, so did Chad Daybell and Laura Vallow. Like, I feel like when that case first popped off, it had a whole lot of attention. This one has a lot of like younger person attention, probably, which is probably the reason why they're focusing so much on the media, like the internet aspect of it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. Because what are the type of people that they're going to be able to actually get on a jury at this point? Do you really want like a whole bunch of people who are maybe in the like age range of people who just don't surf the internet, like the older group of people that are like ornery and don't give a damn and don't really want to be there and have better things to do? Like, I mean, I don't know. I just don't feel like it's a good situation either way, because you don't want it to be biased either way. It has to be completely unbiased regardless. It has to be. That's just how it works. Shoot, these days the Amish have the internet too, man. Some of them have social media. I don't know. Yeah, but they watch her on cable TV. I don't know if they see how cray she gets over here on the internet. Right? It definitely got more like college and younger kids involved. For sure. Yeah, this is true. This is true. This is true. Okay. Okay, I really don't want to go through all these codes and stuff like that. I'm trying to see if they have like some specific information, because if this is just like 319 pages of them quoting a whole bunch of case law, I'm not the one for that. Because I just don't know what this, I'm not a lawyer, so half of this stuff I'm not really quite sure. This is just a bunch of case law. I don't want to just repeat a bunch of case law. The determination of whether to grant a motion for change of venue is addressed to discretion of the trial court. In exercising this discretion, the trial court must keep in mind that although the mere presence of pretrial publicity is not enough by itself to warrant a change of venue, a defendant's inability to make a detailed and conclusive showing of prejudice is not a proper ground for refusing to change the venue. Prejudice seldom can be established or disproved with certainty. Well, that's probably the most true statement this entire case has probably spit out. I mean, that's like the issue, honestly. It shouldn't matter, but that's how things are. Most people vote on emotion instead of fact. Yeah, like it's just there's a lot of it. Yeah, that's probably what it is. We're going to see, though. I just can't believe that they had the audacity to drop 319 pages. All right, let's see. Okay. Prejudice may properly be presumed when either A, inflammatory publicity about a case has so saturated a community that it is almost impossible to draw an impartial jury from that community, or B, so many jurors admit to a disqualifying prejudice that the trial court may legitimately doubt the avowals of impartiality made by the remaining jurors. And see, that's another thing, guys. I doubt we're really going to have trial this summer coming, because I really feel they're going to choose to change the venue. I do feel like they're going to change the venue. I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like it's going to be approved for them to change the venue. I don't know where they're going to go. But I have a feeling that wherever they go, they're not going to get their way there. I think that they're going to end up having to change it again because they don't have enough people that they can fill the jury pool with. I just have a feeling. I'm hoping I'm incorrect and that it works out fine, regardless if they change it or not, and they seat the jury and it's not a problem. But I just don't feel like that's going to be the case. I feel like they're going to end up having to push some stuff back for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Publicity by itself does not require a change of venue. However, a presumption of prejudice requiring a change of venue attend only the extreme case. The test for the extreme case remains whether the trial atmosphere has been utterly corrupted by press coverage. I mean, the press can cover something all they want to. It's if there's an audience watching it, really. In my opinion, anyway. Mr. Kohberger is not on the eve of trial, thus no actual jurors will be called in to determine prejudice. Instead, extensive surveys show actual prejudice and how State versus Kohberger is an extreme case where a venue change is required. It is not possible to impanel an impartial jury in Latah County based on the pervasive and inflammatory press coverage. And then there's going to be the Edelman report. I wonder if they're going to read that out loud or if they're just going to drop it afterwards. To Australia, yeah. Yeah, that'd be funny. That'd be crazy if they could actually change countries and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I had never seen her channel before. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. Okay, so A, State versus Kohberger is an extreme case. In that atmosphere, Latah County is utterly corrupted by press coverage requiring a change of venue. Bryan Christopher Kohberger, once arrested, quickly became a recognized name. The investigation into the deaths of 4 college students had captured the attention of the community, the state, the country, and even beyond the United States long before the arrest of Mr. Kohberger. Okay, let's just put this to a test because we already know I have quite a few of you not from the US. Drop me a 1 in the chat if you are not from the United States. See, look, so many. There's going to be quite a few of you. Hey, American Princess, I didn't see you there. Hey. I know for sure I have people here from Australia. See? Yeah, this case is literally worldwide. Literally worldwide. Isn't that insane? And that's just this is just the 280 people that it shows me that are in here right now. Across the board, honestly, there's probably just as many people all over the planet as there is just in the United States watching this case. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, let's see. Oh, where did we stop? Right here. Beyond the United States. Okay. Since his arrest, interest in the charges, who he is, and his background continue rather than fade over time. The continuous nature of media coverage, often inaccurate and misleading, the impact of the media coverage, and the small size of the community make the case against Bryan Kohberger extreme. You know, I will say this, it's sort of his fault, you know? It's 50% Bryan Kohberger's fault that this is happening because his team agreed to a gag order. And they're not petitioning for the gag order to be released. So, in the midst of all of the silence and all of the what the hell happened here, of course, this went insane. We want to know what the hell happened. They're not helping that situation. But then again, maybe that was a tactic all along. Maybe they kept it that way and didn't fight the gag order because in the end, they really wanted a change of venue. So they decided to keep the secrecy. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. That's true too. And not just her. Because what's his face? The guy. He likes to slip stuff in a lot. He tries to get away with a lot. Right? I really feel like, right? See, great question, Heather. Great question. But that's something else that I don't know. Like, if it's a state grand jury, does that technically mean that it's held in the local area? Logsden, that guy. Yeah, that guy right there. Does that technically mean that it's held in the local area, or is it something that's held like at the Capitol? Like the county seat? That's something that I would like to look into because I'm not really quite sure if it's local people since it's a state grand jury. I'll have to find that out. Okay. Media saturation in Latah County has been continuously heavy since the deaths were reported. Public interest in the case does not wane. Stories about the case and Mr. Kohberger come in the form of published books, here we go, television crime shows, internet platforms, social media, news stations, and newspapers across the nation. And soon they can add movie to that, which is absolutely wild. Again, I'm just not going to let that go. Just not going to let that go. The most coverage from these sources has occurred in Latah County. Coverage runs the gamut of reporting on items contained in court filings to reporting about what unnamed sources have said, as well as reporting based on other media stories. These stories are often rife with misinformation and speculation. The amount of media stories, the inaccurate and speculative nature of the stories, and the impact on potential jurors show that State versus Kohberger is an extreme case. The impact of this vast media coverage on a potential Latah County juror demonstrates the necessity of change of venue. Media from locations outside of Latah County is easily accessible to a potential juror. However, Latah County residents have received the most media saturation within the state. Okay, so that's what this True Scope guy is coming in to talk about. Is the media saturation in Latah County. Okay, we've got that pretty much. Hey, Tallulah. Do they? Hmm. Okay. Let's see where we are. So yeah, that's what the True Scope guy is going to be talking about. True Scope is a media collection company, and based on the analytics completed by the media company, media coverage directly in Latah County makes up 36.13% of the coverage in the entire state. Wow. That's interesting. It's a lot, actually. The state indicates that this is 36.13% of traceable media. That means newspapers and television. And again, that's going to be a PowerPoint. Oh, we get another PowerPoint. More than 1/3 of the total print and news coverage is centered in Latah County. More than 1/3 of the traceable media in one county is astounding. However, considering that Latah County compromises only 2.75% of the entire population of Idaho, the oversaturation and resulting prejudice is magnified. I mean, but granted, I know. Yeah, crazy. Yes, yes. What's his face? It's actually, you know what? That's another thing. I'm actually kind of confused. There's more than one. Dumb old Bloom said that what's his face? Ron Howard is the one that's going to be taking his book from Harper Media. I guess it's Harper but Publications or whatever, and that's the one that's going to be becoming a movie, like apparently around Christmas time. But there's another one that's going to be done. I think it's Amazon. Somebody sent me something about it. I'm sorry if you're in here and I can't remember the actual details, but somebody sent me something about it. I think it was Anita. It was you? It was you, wasn't it, Anita? On Twitter. And it's James Patterson and another person's book sort of like coming together for one movie, and I believe it's Amazon that's going to be doing it. I think Anita is the one that sent it to me. So that's two. That's two freaking movies. And I'm just I just don't understand it. Like, cool, like do your little documentary thing, show us that you just don't listen or care and get all the information wrong. That's fine. Cool, you're going to do it anyway. But to me, a movie is a finalized chapter. A book is a finalized chapter. I don't understand. I guess it's just the generation I was grown up in. Like books and movies, that's like what you do at the end whenever you know the facts, the details, and all the things have come out. You don't just do that in the middle of everything 7 months before we go to trial. Thank you, Tallulah. That's very, very sweet. Congratulations to the people who get the memberships. Thank you. Very, very sweet of you. It's just wild. I don't understand it. It's super ridiculous, bro. It's so super ridiculous. Like, how is that even allowed? Like, if they could put a gag order on people that it don't really make sense about, can they not put a media gag order on this case to where, like, by court order, this movie cannot come out? By court order, you cannot publish this book. Like, why is this stuff allowed before trial? After trial, have at it. Have at it. Go crazy, right? But not before trial. I feel like there should be a court order that can stop this stuff. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking, but I feel like that should be right. Like, I feel like there should be a court order that can stop this kind of stuff pre-trial. Like, pre-trial. Have at it afterwards, right? Like, I don't care. Have at it. Have at it. Have at it. Have at it. Has she? I haven't seen anything about a media gag order that she's tried to do. I feel like it is. Where is it? Right here. Right? That too. Because what if we really like have no clue and everything is really wrong? Like, what if for real? Because nothing's adding up, guys. And they are literally making it sound as if they know for a fact every little detail and they've got the right guy and everything else. Okay, well, explain to me why the two so-say eyewitnesses or whoever were the survivors that were there that night refused to cross over the state line and do what they're supposed to do. If the person that Dylan really saw looks like the person they've got in the defense chair, then what's the problem? Right, and on a huger scale. On a bigger scale. I just don't get it. That right there, we don't even have the freaking ending. So basically, they're gonna have like these books and these movies, and they're all gonna be freaking part ones. They're all gonna have to be part ones, preludes, because we don't have an ending. We have no way to end the story yet. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Yes. Yep. There's articles being written about it, about them. Yes. Confirmed. I just don't really understand. I mean, I know they have like more than we have, but the people that have seen like all of the evidence are even saying this isn't like gonna work, guys. This is Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese-a-roni. Yeah, I don't even want to know. Honestly, I don't even want to know what they're going to end up doing with that because it's Ron Howard, so he technically has access to like everyone. One of them is Ron Howard anyway. But I don't even know if James Patterson's book is all the way out yet. See, I'm so upset about all of it that I don't even pay attention to it. Yeah, James Patterson and another person. It's like a female, I think. And like both of their books' details are coming together. Something like that. It is crazy. Super crazy. Okay. Let's see where we were. All right. The prolific media coverage in Latah County is not a mere passing story. The content is not benign. Rather, it is inflammatory, emotion-evoking, and often misleading, false, and poorly sourced. There is no reasonable belief that media coverage will slow, regardless of how long the case takes to prepare for trial. There will be no elapsed time between media coverage and jury trial, a factor considered by the Supreme Court in Skilling, which is one of the cases that they talked about. In Exhibit C, TrueScope depicts a visual of peaks and valleys in coverage rather than a continual decline. The valleys, followed by a spike, correlate with hearings or court filings in the case. Well, yeah, because that's whenever there's new information and people are going to see what's going on. That's normal. Once everybody gets the information, they're not going to keep going back and going and reading the information over and over again. So that's normal. It's just like we'll do Idaho, videos. I might do an Idaho video every single day for 2 weeks straight. But then for like a week or so, there might be no Idaho videos whatsoever because there's nothing else to talk about. So that's pretty normal. That's pretty normal. Let's see. Based on the pattern depicted in Exhibit C, it is not reasonable to believe a decline prior to trial will occur in Latah County. No, it'll probably spike up. It'll probably incline slowly within like that week leading up because people are going to be, counting down to trial and people are going to be coming in. I'd actually probably say like a month because people are going to be traveling. They're going to be coming in to see what's going on because it's going to be public. Unless something freaking crazy changes, it's going to be public. So people are going to be getting hotels and staying in places and Airbnb and all the things. So, I mean, yeah, it's probably going to have a bigger footprint. Wouldn't surprise me. Media coverage, while extensive, must also be prejudicial. The prejudicial effect of the Latah County media coverage is shown based on survey work performed and analyzed by Dr. Bryan Edelman, Trial Innovations, and that's going to be Exhibit B. Dr. Edelman constructed a survey to test the effect of publicity in the case. The survey consisted of questions related to case recognition in general, specific information recollection, and impact for prejudgment. This type of tool is widely accepted within Dr. Edelman's scientific community, and Dr. Veronica Dahar's report. So she must be somebody who does the exact same thing or along the lines of the exact same thing as Dr. Edelman. Yeah. I agree with that. And I'm only glancing over like every now and then, guys, because I'm trying to read. So if I miss your comments, don't hate me. But I saw that one. That one caught my eye. So yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit much. It's a bit much. Oh, I need some more coffee. And just so you know, guys, I'm looking at this now. I'll probably shut it down at 9 o'clock. I was smart and used my crock pot today, so I'm really not in a rush, but I will probably shut it down at 9 o'clock and then we will start again tomorrow wherever we left off. Just FYI, because I try to read all of it and this is a bunch. No, I'm not going to jump. Nope. Not going to jump. Not going to jump. So yeah, but an hour and a half left and then we will continue tomorrow. Let's see, where were we? Okay, yeah, so she must be somebody who does kind of like the same kind of stuff. Hey. She must be somebody who does the exact same kind of stuff that Edelman does for them to be putting her information right there. Analysis of the community attitude survey conducted by Trial Innovations demonstrates that Latah County citizens who are over the age of 18 are biased and have knowledge of information that is inflammatory, misleading, and or false about this case. That sounds like another one. So did she actually perform a whole different one? Like a whole different survey? That's kind of cool, I guess. So it's 2 different versions, technically. Maybe. I don't want to say that like as an absolute, but that's what it sounds like. The community attitude survey shows case recognition is 98%. Woohoo! Damn. So 98% of the people that they surveyed knew. That's insane. That's super wild. Wow. 70% of those recognizing the case have already formed an opinion regarding Mr. Kohberger. Their opinion is that he is guilty. The survey shows that of those that have the opinion Mr. Kohberger is guilty, 51% state they have a fixed opinion. That means there is nothing that will change their opinion. This is demonstrated of the prejudice discussed in Hayden, as the survey results show both presumed prejudice and actual prejudice in Latah County. The threshold in Latah is a reasonable likelihood, as the court in Hayden stated. It is sufficient for the accused to show there was a reasonable likelihood prejudicial news coverage prevented a fair trial in violation of the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution. I mean, I'm hoping so. But honestly, I don't think that that's going to do anything to their change of venue argument, because this is all about the amount of people that know the case and how crazy everything is. Okay. So this is Hayden at 377. I'm guessing this is like page 377 of whatever they're talking about. Oh, and for those of you who don't know the kind of questions, I'm glad they have it right here. The types of questions that were asked, and we'll go through it again whenever we do the whatchamadoodle, the PowerPoint. They were questions like, have you read, seen, or heard, insert question here. And the one they have right here is, have you read, seen, or heard that Bryan Kohberger was stalking one of the victims? And I'm glad that that's the one that they decided to put in here, because that's the one that Santa stood up and said, that's a false statement. Why are you telling people, everybody? Why are you telling everybody that? That's a false statement. Why are you telling people that? That's when he got mad and basically let several cats out the bag, which is why now he hasn't been talking much. I mean, he talked a little bit more than he had been in this last one, but he'd been letting Jennings, I think her name is, take over, because every time he gets hot and heated, he gives a whole bunch of information out when he shouldn't be. But I'm glad he does, because that was important to know. Okay, so right here it states, in order to distinguish the media impact on Latah County residents, comparison surveys were conducted in 3 other counties in Idaho. The comparative surveys, while showing high case recognition rates and similar prejudgment of guilt rates, have important differences of lower recognition of media items. The inaccurate media items have a high link in potential prejudgment opinions of guilt. And that's where it shows the whole have you read, seen, or heard question. Additionally, comparative county surveys show a lower number of people following the case and have fewer personal connections. And that makes sense. That's super, super normal. I mean, I understand there's going to be less and less the farther out, they get from it, right? Like a ripple effect. The ripple gets bigger as it gets away from the center. But there's still going to be so many. It's going to be really, really hard. I think it's going to be really hard. Additionally, comparative county surveys, or I read that part. Okay. It is noteworthy that outside of Latah County, the incidents. Why did this just stop me all up? Incidents. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay. The incidence of fear associated with the case is significantly reduced. The United States Supreme Court also distinguished between jurors' mere familiarity with the defendant and an actual predisposition against him. Well, yeah, you can't have anybody on there that knows him. That's normal. Dr. Edelman's survey work shows actual predisposition against Bryan Kohberger in Latah County. I mean, we kind of figured that. One of the primary considerations is determining the pretrial publicity and corruption of a community for venue is the size and characteristics of the community in which the crime occurred. Latah County, Idaho is a small, tightly knit community based on survey results, and it is a community with a prejudgment for conviction and death sentence. The population of Moscow is only 41,000, and of that, 19% are under the age of 18, making them ineligible to be a juror. 19% are over the age of 65, but all but approximately 2,000 of whom may request to be excused on the basis of age that are over the age of 70. The census statistics reduce the eligible population on age alone by 38% for a total of 25,000 available population before any juror disqualification questions are asked. Ada County, 12 times larger than Latah County, provides a greater hope of seating an impartial jury. The small size of Latah County is further challenged by connections to the case that do not exist in other counties. Some of the major employers in the community are people connected to law enforcement and the University of Idaho. So people that own businesses have connections to law enforcement, and I'm glad that they put that in here because that's important. I'm glad they actually mentioned that. Sort of impressed, honestly. Let's see. The university is the single largest employer in the community with at least 4,517 employees. That's actually a lot. The county and city who employ law enforcement, court staff, and jail staff have more than 300 employees. So that's over 4,800 people out of the 2,500. I mean, 25,000. So you might as well knock it down to 20,000, really, if you just want to do some rounding. Really? The controlling precedent of the United States Supreme Court in Patton versus Yount, I guess, hold that upon the showing of abundant evidence in the record demonstrating media saturation in a small county with facts about the case, false information about the case, and otherwise inadmissible material, a change of venue is appropriate. In Shepard, the Supreme Court held that due process requires a change of venue or a continuance when the defendant can show a reasonable likelihood that prejudicial news prior to trial will prevent a fair trial. More significantly, because a criminal defendant has the right to an impartial jury, a court must grant a motion to change venue if prejudicial pretrial publicity makes it impossible to seat an impartial jury. Daniels versus Woodford. The United States Supreme Court distinguishes between publicity that is largely factual publicity and that which is insidious and inflammatory. Okay, so if the media was being honest and not pushing stories about how he was stalking them, because obviously that's not true, would they then not be needing a change of venue because the saturation of the media was all based on fact? Is that what that's about? It's an interesting way to put it. And then they have like the census stuff. And there's a link in the description box that goes straight to the website for these, or you just go to Google and type in Idaho Case of Interest website and scroll. Of importance in the small community impact on the juror. Jurors sitting on a trial in Latell County will have no anonymity. Yeah, no joke. In a town where calls by a surveyor results in reports to the prosecution and police. You mean a town full of Karens? There is no doubt that everyone will know who his seated jurors are if this trial is not moved. Jurors will be under immeasurable pressure to reach a guilty verdict and then a death verdict. The affidavit of Scott Sunby in support of this motion states, okay, so that's what he's going to be talking about, I guess, is the, what you call it? The, what is the word for it? Protection of the jurors. So that's what this guy's going to be kind of talking about, it sounds like, is protection of the jurors, because he's not wrong. This is not wrong. Like, for real. Not wrong at all. Two distinct dangers arise from holding a capital trial in a small community where the victims of the high-profile murders are local residents. The first is that jurors will be distinctly aware of community outrage, and as a result, some are likely to fear that many of their neighbors and coworkers will ostracize them if they do not return a sentence of death. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. And it's sad. It is. This word. I don't know if you're talking about the movie that y'all are talking about in the chat or this. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Huh? Who is C and G? Okay, well, I'm not gonna like keep scrolling. I don't know what y'all are talking about. This is the second time that I've seen that. I don't know. Oh, I just talked about it. What you mean? I'm still confused because I just talked about it. So why wouldn't I want to talk about it? I don't understand why this is an argument. Huh? You mean Goncalves and Chapin, the last name of the victims in the case? I mean, Jeebus. I don't understand. I'm confused. I mean, that's what the movie's about, then that's just what the movie's about. I have videos of just Ethan and Xana. I talk about the Goncalveses constantly. I don't know. I mean, I'll do a video on the article. I'll pull it back up because Anita sent it to me. I just hate the fact they're doing all that stuff. So I'll do a video. I'll do a read. I'll find the information and I'll do a video just on the article itself. That's not a big deal. I don't care if look. I done told y'all. I'm not gonna sit here and babysit. Just y'all. As long as y'all aren't being mean to each other or like being assholes for no reason, I don't really care what y'all talk about. I mean, I'm gonna talk my shit regardless because they shouldn't be allowing a movie about the case. Now, if it's a love story about Ethan and Xana and it doesn't have anything to do with the case, then that's fine. But if they're coming at it like we know that they're coming at it, then they're gonna get the same thing that the Goncalveses get. Y'all know better. Y'all know better. We don't do hypocritical boo-boo. And honestly, the Chapin signing off on a movie, but her ass never wanting to step into the courtroom. If that is the truth, then oh hell yeah, I'm gonna have a lot to say. You crazy? Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I didn't even get the chance to read the whole thing. I just know that it was coming out, and this I'm trying not to really give that stuff attention, but yeah, I'll clear everything up. I'll get the. Yeah, well, there's still a movie coming out though. There's more than one thing happening. But yeah, that's not surprising either. But yeah. No, if they like signed, if there's parents in this that signed off on that, they're gonna get it too. Because that's bullshit. Afterwards, do what you gotta do. Do what you got to do once the trial is over. This is multiple people involved. There's multiple families at stake, at risk. This is multiple people's justice at stake. It's not cute for one family to think that they can just do whatever they want to do because it's affecting everybody. Not just justice for that child, but justice in the way that this works for all of the victims and for Bryan. Well, there really isn't a G Family movie. Howard Bloom, or at least not that I know of. I'm not too sure, but I know that Howard Bloom, in all of his stuff, said that whenever he was talking about his book and his information becoming a movie with Ron Howard, that he was approached by Shannon Gray about the Goncalveses being part of the movie, and he said no, he wasn't going to allow them to be part of it. I don't know, Tonka. That's what I'm going to find out. That's what I'm going to find out. But again, like if it's just about their life, cool, do it. But if you don't have, if you're not talking about the case itself, then I really don't care. Just like I don't care about Stacey Chapin's book. Her book is not about the case. It's about just Ethan. I don't care about the tulip thing. I have tulips. A guy named Chris that's been watching the channel for forever donated money for the channel to do tulips. And I'm going to end up doing a box now that we are moved and I'm buying this house and I'm not going nowhere and I can do permanent things here. And it's going to be the Ethan tulips. I care about things that have something to do with the case. I'm an in the middle person. I'm a very in the middle person. So we're gonna see. We'll get the information. We'll get it all squared away, and we'll get all of the. We'll get it all figured out. We'll get it all figured out so we can figure out how to act, because we'll figure it out. I mean, yeah, movie's too soon. But again, if it doesn't have anything to do with the case, I can't really say too much. I can't be mad at it if they just want to talk about their kids. It's about the case, keeping the integrity of the details and the facts. I mean, I don't think it can go out of state. I've always wondered that, though. Like, could they go out of state if they absolutely had to? I've been curious because, laws are all, whatever. Everything can be rewritten, amendments can be made. But I've wondered if they could take it out of state. Oh. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not fair that they've kind of just came out here and been the only ones to really get attention. I mean, you look at their Facebook page and it's people sending them stuff for Kaylee from literally all over the country. And I'm like, okay, but what about Maddie's dad and, family? And what about Jasmine and Jeff? Like, do people send them stuff and send them money and gift cards and trinkets and, personalized photos and stuff all the time? Because Kaylee sure gets a hell of a lot of attention for only being 1/4 of the situation. And it's really sad. Like, good. I'm glad that you have your support. You got the world supporting you, apparently. But what about the rest of them? It's just very not even. See, dog toys for Murphy's cute. But, like, what about Maddie's family and Xana's family? I mean, and what about Ethan's brother and sister? Like, just because Stacy's doing her cray-cray shit doesn't mean that the two kids agree, I think they're just kind of trying to get through college. I don't know. It's all crazy. It's just such a strange situation. Yeah. And notice that ever since we found out about Samantha, for those of you that have been around for a minute now, beautiful Samantha, ever since the truth came out about Steve and Samantha, they don't really talk so much about Maddie anymore. Behavior changes are important. It's all just crazy. It's all just crazy. Okay, so let's get back to this. So there's going to be an Exhibit D from this Mr. Sundby guy, and it states that Mr. Sundby asserts that based on over a decade of research and hundreds of interviews of death-qualified jurors, the pressures of deliberations in a capital case in a small community are different and carry unique pressure. Their survey analysis bears this out in Latah County, and it shows a life and death decision by Scott E. Sundby. Okay, well, this is a good way to be able to find out exactamente who this guy is. So he wrote a book. I can't show you all this because it shows stuffs. Hold on. He wrote a book back in 2005. Okay, well, that's what it's called. I can't really show it. I mean, I can show you. Let me see to make sure. Scan. Yeah, this should be fine. I'm not clicking on anything because it'll show my location if I go to Amazon or anything. But this is the book. It's called A Life and Death Decision, and it looks like it was written back in 2005, and it's about the death penalty. So yeah, that's what he's going to be over here talking about. Okay, let's see. The lasting impact of extensive media coverage cannot be undone through the See, I'm like I'm saying it in my head, but I can't say it out loud. This is one of those words. I know it's dire, right? You know what? I'm not even going to pretend that my mouth can pronounce that. I just can't do it. Anyway, this is enough evidence to presume prejudice incapable of remedy in Latah County, as the Supreme Court stated in 1908. Bias or prejudice is such an elusive condition of mind that it is most difficult, if not impossible, to always recognize its existence, and it might exist in the mind of one on account of his relation with one of the parties who was quite positive that he had no bias and said that he was perfectly able to decide the question wholly uninfluenced by anything but the evidence. Crawford versus United States. Also see Irwin. The influence that lurks in an opinion once formed is so persistent that it unconsciously fights detachment from the mental process of the average man, and psychological impact requiring such a declaration of ability to be fair and impartial before one's fellows is often its father. This has to be stuff from 1908 because this is back in the day. Is that how you say it? Vordeer. Yeah, there's just some words, bro. It's just some words. Where was I? My eye has been twitching for like 2 days, guys. So honestly, like I'm sitting here kind of like reading it with my hand, sort of like trying to shut my my left eyelid because it just will not stop twitching. I know I stare at a screen too much. I need to go get some more glasses. That's probably why this is doing this. Okay, let's see. Where so many times admitted prejudice, such a statement of impartiality can be given little weight. Dr. Edelman and Dr. Amani, see Exhibit E, will be a report by both that explains why this is so. Certainly, the citizens of Latah County would mean well upon a promise to set aside information gleaned via the media and conversation with others. However, this is often unknown mindset that new information filters through. Further unknown biases exist that cannot be corrected, and there's going to be, yeah, my daughter said the same thing. She's like, yes, probably stress. Yeah, probably so. I take one. I take a lot of natural stuff, like turmeric and stuff. Yeah, I take a lot of different natural stuff. Okay. In Delaney versus United States, the court recognized the difficulty of assuming that the average juror may confidently exclude even the unconscious influence of his preconceptions as to probable guilt engendered by a pervasive pretrial publicity. Claims of impartiality should be rejected where prejudice is widespread. The court stated that when a high percentage of the veneer admits to a disqualifying prejudice, a court may properly question the remaining jurors, avows of impartiality, and choose to presume prejudice. In a community where most veneer men will admit to a disqualifying prejudice, the reliability of the others' protestations may be drawn into question, for it is more than probable that they are part of a community deeply hostile to the accused. Yeah, I can probably imagine so. That's probably so. Magnesium. You know what? I tried magnesium one time and it actually made me feel horrible. I don't know. It's probably like the opposite, but I'm opposite pretty much medically anyway. So, social science research confirms the inadequacy of voir dire as a remedy in a case such as this. Dr. Imani El Alayli states the impact of media coverage causes a potential juror to have a preset opinion about Mr. Kohberger that provides a backdrop for new information that likely will be interpreted to confirm already formed beliefs. So literally, it's all perception. I have those. I shall do that. So yeah, it's literally all about perception. If you already have something in your head, a biased opinion, then you're going to be able to take whatever information is put out there and be able to see it the way that you want to see it and make it make sense. That makes a lot of sense. Additionally, the impact is increased because much of the initial information has come from authority figures. This early information was accompanied by emotions, which deepen preset opinions. A good example, specific to the population of Latell County, comes from the University of Idaho president, Scott Green. Finally, because he should never have been front and center from all of those freaking press conferences. This was an off-campus situation. These girls signed leases and paid bills. This was not a sorority house. This was not anything to do with any of the things. Okay, so I am so glad they put him in here. He published a book with a chapter entitled When Evil Visits Your Campus. I didn't know that was the title. I honestly don't pay attention to stuff that intricate. I'm really into like the actual facts of the timeline. I didn't realize it was evil. When evil visits your campus. Jesus. Yes. Every time. Every time. Hey, Steven. Hey. Oh, are you talking about Olivia and Kaylee? Well, if you saw the conversations between the two of them that I have seen, you would probably change your mind. But I've never like came out here and like showed any of that stuff because it's just not. It's just not really worth talking about unless it becomes a thing to talk about. But I've got plenty of conversational proof of how they really were. I'm just gonna leave it there. He dedicated the book to the victims and claims that proceeds from the book are being used to create a memorial garden. Oh boy. Okay. Is that true? Because from what I'm understanding, what Christy said was that the school basically used like the victims' names. Was it Christy or was it Stacy? It was one of the two. That they basically used the victims' names in order to do a fundraiser for this memorial garden, but then like changed up everything, and they got really upset because they basically feel like the school basically did the same thing that like the media and stuff does by like just using the names of the victims to get this memorial, like to get the attention, and then they like took it away and they raised like $800,000 or some shit like that. So I know there was already like some crazy stuff, but I didn't know that he said he was going to dedicate the proceeds of the book to the memorial garden, because wasn't the book already like starting to get written before the situation, and then he added that in there last minute? I mean, that's cool if that's really what he did, but there's already been some inconsistencies with raising money for that in the first place. So Yeah, I'm not really too impressed anyway. I don't like this dude. In his book, President Green tells of the great fear that existed on campus and in Moscow. He writes about self-defense classes and counseling that goes on to this day. He expresses how the community... I'm seeing this thing right? All right, I'm just making sure it's showing right. Okay. Okay. He expresses how the community came together, bringing several thousand residents to a candlelight vigil. He explains how his close work with law enforcement during the months after that crime helped him make decisions. What do you mean? What decisions do you need to be making for something that happened off campus? Mm-mm. He shares in writing his theory about Mr. Kohberger's guilt. See Scott Green and Kenyon Temple. Oh, the Crisis Handbook, When Evil Exists in Your Campus. Okay, so it's in there. All right. The impact of the message from a community leader in a highly emotional atmosphere creates a level of strong potential for bias non-existent in other Idaho counties, which is true. That's true. Change of venue is necessary and appropriate pursuant to statute and rule. Idaho Criminal Rule 21 and Idaho Code 19-1801 provide direction to the court to change venue upon finding an impartial jury cannot be had in the county where the indictment was found. The foregoing argument related to constitutional protections apply with regard to Idaho Criminal Rule 21A. Without repeating those arguments, we turn to appropriateness of venue change pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 12B, authorizing a court to change venue for other reasons. Idaho Criminal Rule 12B allows the court to transfer the proceedings to another county for the convenience of parties and witnesses and in the interest of justice. The court should consider, along with all of the foregoing, these additional factors available with a change of venue to add a county. Okay, they want add a county. They want add a county. Interesting. Hey, Yona. Yeah, I agree. I think they will. Dropping out of stuff. Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, ain't it? Out of county. Okay, well. But see, this is actually kind of stupid too. You want to know why this is stupid too? Because this is going to mean that for the next however long, out of county is now getting a heads up. And now word is going to be going around that out of county is where they want to move stuff to. Oh boy. Is that true? Whoever knows that, please answer, because I'm not sure. It would be interesting because we also have a, what is it? The cell phone guy from the Chad Daybell? Yep, it is true. Okay. So that's two things now, because we also have this Fed guy from the Chad Daybell case that's going to be talking about cell phone stuff, right? Isn't that the one that Payne talked to and got his information from, that he played game of telephone with? Yeah, Balance. That guy. So now we have the same county and the same Fed. Interesting. It's Ada. Is it Ada? Ada County? They ate a county. I wonder what it tastes like. Ada. Yeah, Ada. I mean, yeah, I'm hoping. Ada. Isn't that the princess? Yeah, it is. Anita, it's a huge shit show. But isn't it Princess Ada in the Bugs Life movie? I think it's Princess Ada. Okay, let's get back to this now. I'm surprised they put it in here. I figured they would wait till the hearing. I really figured they would wait, but they're putting it in here a whole month and a week ahead. That's crazy. Okay. Ada County is the largest county in Idaho with more than 10 times as many potential jurors than Latah County. Given the familiarity with the case throughout the entire state of Idaho, one second. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Say it louder. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Given the familiarity with the case throughout the entire state of Idaho, selecting an impartial jury as guaranteed by the Constitution will be a challenge. The best chance to find an impartial jury is to have the largest potential pool of candidates. Well, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. Go to the largest county. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. The Ada County Courthouse can accommodate this trial. There are large courtrooms with adequate places and tables for the attorneys and Mr. Kohberger. The large courtroom provides space for each counsel to keep materials and necessary conversation out of eyesight or earshot of the other party, spectators, and the media. So she doesn't want to sit so close to the state. That's what it sounds like. That's crazy. Let's see. See, I look over and then I lose my spot. I need to use like a highlighter system or something. Due to its size, the courtroom can accommodate a large number of spectators, and there is overflow space available for the public to watch the trial. You know, I told the kids that I wouldn't mind going like at least one day, that we might do a road trip and just go like one day just to say that we did. Who knows? We'll see. It's forever. It's like a lots of miles. It's like a 2-day drive. So we'll see. Ada County is adequate security for the safety of the parties, court staff, and jurers. There are multiple jury rooms and many private restrooms away from the public to accommodate a large jury for several months. The courthouse and security are set up to assist jurors to and from the courtroom without media exposure. Any consideration related to costs of prosecution and defense make Ada County a logical choice with the largest airport in the state. There will be a number of witnesses traveling into Idaho. Interesting. Does that mean that they've actually gotten Bethany and Dylan to agree to come? Because who else could you consider a witness that would have to travel into Idaho while they're talking about the airport? I don't know who else they could be talking about. Expert witnesses flying in, though? The DNA people? Oh, yeah, they'd be coming from Houston. That's true. That's true. True story. Okay. The Moscow Pullman Airport has few direct flights, especially in the summer months. This will require most witnesses to travel to Spokane, Washington, and rent a car to drive to the Latah County Courthouse, which is interesting because that's what we heard Bryan's dad did. Well, no, but my daughter has a permit and we'll have her license by then and we can take turns. Tailgate the proceedings. Like, we should just go and set up a huge what you call them, like a drive-in movie, and just live stream it on the drive-in movie board. Don't you have to like connect to like an AM station or something like that? But yeah, like we heard that whenever he came to meet up with him for their drive or whatever, that he flew into Spokane and then got a rental car, which meant to me that they were gonna have to drop the rental car back off at some point. But I don't know if he would have like dropped it off the same day or if they waited till they were leaving town. So I don't know. Let's see. Another consideration for this court pursuant to Idaho Code 19-1801 is that Chief Fry is running for Latah County Sheriff. Yep, we talked about that too. Chief Fry is a witness in this case. He has engaged in extensive media statements. Oh, yes, he has. Especially the one where he said, what was it? The occupants of the car? Yeah, Fry. French Fry man. I'm never going to let that go. I want to know why in the hell you want to tell us there's multiple people in that vehicle that you want to talk to. Yeah. I'm waiting. I want all of them. This is awesome. I'm glad that they called out Scott Green. And we just on page 12. This is wild. All right, let's see. If he is elected, his position statutorily gives him power to summon jurors if directed to do so and to be in charge of an impaneled jury. If he is elected, a conflict is created in his statutory duty to be in charge of an impaneled jury when he is a witness in the case. Oh my goodness. Me too. See, I'm learning things, which is crazy to me though, because why the hell are you allowed to have your wife be like part of the court system? I guess maybe because she works for the courthouse and not the sheriff's department, but to me, it's still crazy. So that's interesting. I'm glad that that's like something that they're talking about. That's crazy. Okay, yeah. So what are they supposed to do? But that's one of the other reasons, right? Like that alone would be reason to me. That alone would be reason. But then you also have to wonder, is this also part of the plan? Like, did they choose for him to run for that office knowing that he would be part of the people that do the jury thing? You just can't trust nothing. These small town corruptions ain't playing. I lived it. I know it. I lived it more than once. I put nothing past him. It's crazy. I put nothing past him. I didn't even think about that whenever we knew about him running for sheriff. I didn't even think at all about the jury. Wow. I'm so glad we know this. It is deep, bro. It is. It is. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. See, that's why I'm not a lawyer. I don't know these things. If I was a lawyer, I would have instantly been like, something's up. If I would have been a lawyer, I would have known that this was crazy. That's crazy. Okay. This is one of those interest of justice factors that supports a venue change out of Latah County. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it is. Okay. There is no ordinary. This is no ordinary case. Bryan Kohberger is accused of killing 4 individuals. The state seeks the death penalty if the trial should result in conviction. As such, Mr. Kohberger's constitutional rights must be carefully guarded. Rarely does even a small community come together in both number and quality of unity, as has happened here. Latah County is, in all regards, a nice, quaint, close-knit community that sticks together. While a small, close-knit community is what is hoped for in a small town, constitutional rights must still be carefully protected. Mr. Kohberger has the right of a presumption of innocence. He is guaranteed the protection of a fair jury and due process of law. Given the level of bias in Latah County, Mr. Kohberger cannot receive a fair trial. An impartial jury in this community cannot be picked. The court must protect Mr. Kohberger's constitutional rights and grant a change of venue. Signed, sealed, delivered. All right. Let's see. So this is the press releases that they have in here. So I guess we're going to go through these now. I don't really feel like we need to read all of these, but we might. We might. Let's see. This was from January 3rd. This is where Bryan Kohberger has waived extradition to Pennsylvania. Within 10 days, Kohberger will be returned to Idaho. Details regarding Kohberger's transportation to Idaho, specifically when that may occur and by what method of transportation, will not be shared publicly for security reasons. That's normal. Moscow Police Department asked for public to please continue to submit tips. There are many questions surrounding upcoming court processes in this case. The first step in any felony court case in Idaho is what is referred to as an initial appearance. This initial appearance takes place before the magistrate court judge. At this hearing, the judge explains the defendant's rights, the charges against him, all the things. Yeah, because it wasn't until he touched down in Idaho. It wasn't until he touched down in Idaho that they released the information. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. So then we have the non-assimilation order, January 3rd. And then let's see, this one was from, let's see, this is, oh, hold on 1 second. Okay. Random hug. 6-year-old does that all day long. Or let's see. So they're not, oh my goodness. Why is this not surprising me that they're not even in chronological order? They couldn't even put these in chronological order for this filing. Here's November 13th, where they gave the identification of the victims. This is before they had any idea about Bryan Kohberger whatsoever. And now we have November 14th, the mayor. Oh, well, thank you, Heron. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Thank you, Olivera. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's see. First responders, skill, dedicated service. I mean, we've pretty much seen all these, but you just never know. We just want to skim through them. Updated contact information. Then we have November 15th. No weapons located. See, because we didn't know about like the knife information or about the knife sheath at all either until the PCA was released to the public. So this right here, let me see, what date was this again? 11/15. Oh, that's not even. I gotta get y'all even. Right there. Okay. Although no weapons have been located based on preliminary information, investigators believe that an edged weapon such as a knife was used, and they really only know that at this point because it had only been like 48 hours. I mean, obviously they would have had like people being able to, Mabbit, right? Mabbit doing whatever Mabbit does because she's off her rocker too, honestly. But they would have known from the knife sheath that part. And then right here, this is where they like, how do they know? Like I saw that that Andrew D. Myers had Lucky, I don't know his channel name, but y'all know who he is. Lucky, he always wears the hat. Talks like he's like real chill. He was on there, and that's what they were talking about. Like, how did they know so early on, like this was like isolated, targeted, no immediate threat whatsoever to the community. How did they know if they didn't know crap about Bryan Kohberger until the feds gave them the genealogical tree to follow? And I've wondered that too. Like we've brought that up before whenever we went over one of the things. I think it was Bill Thompson said, I think it was something Bill Thompson said in one of the stupid documentary things, to where he was asked, like, if you had a kid that was in college age, would you have felt safe, like the kids going back or whatever like that? And he said, yeah. And I'm like, how would you have known? Like, how do you know within 48 hours that this is an isolated attack and that you don't have some psychopath out there? Whenever we literally have a report of a man in black with a knife on the bike trail, literally like the same night, right? Either the same night or the night before. Like, how can you just come out here and say this? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So I'm glad people are asking that, because we've been asking it, and I don't get it. Like, how did you know? How did you know in 48 hours that you should release this sentence? How? It's just crazy. Okay, let's see. First and foremost, steadfast, committed, da-da-da-da-da-da. Highlighted that violence is possible in our own community. Oh gosh, yeah, because you think you're immune to life. Okay. Then we have the streaming link. Is this still active? Is it?
Hi there. I'd love to show you.
I'm not subscribed. Let me do that real quick. I probably should have done that a long time ago. Oh, it stopped sharing. Hold on, let me put it back. I guess I can turn this back on, see if it's even. I see my headphones back there. Let's see. Is there anything else? Okay, here's Catherine Mabbitt. Date of da-da-da-da. Yeah, we've seen this too. Oh, that's interesting. Right here, they have Ethan's name first, bro. Maybe we haven't seen this. Because remember, we were told that whenever they were releasing us, like the names, that they were being released in order of death because that's how they normally do it. Right? We've always been told Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, Ethan. And the coroner's report has it Ethan, Kaylee, Xana, Maddie? Has anybody else seen it in this order before? Drop a 1 in the chat if you've seen it in this order before, because I don't remember this. It's alphabetical? Why is Xana before Maddie then? Or is it alphabetical by last name? Last name. You right. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. And this is the 18th. This is where they talk about the Corner Club. And they get into specifics about Kaylee and Maddie's timeline. This is the 1:30 a.m. that the Goncalveses got upset about because it was incorrect. And they're the ones who had to go in there and correct it. There's the grub truck information. And here's where they say that Ethan and Xana were at the Sigma Chi house for the party. And Ethan visiting. Just had to make sure there wasn't anything crazy, because I've been following a whole bunch of crazy breaking news on Twitter because you just don't know what's happening these days. The world is insane. All right, let's see. 911 call reported unconscious individual, but that's not really true either. Autopsies were conducted on the 17th, confirmed the identity of the individuals. So they already on the 18th, so 4-ish days later, they already got rid of Dylan, Bethany, and Jack. Not Decor. What's his face? What's the other guy? Hoodie Man. Showalter. By the 18th, they already took them actually off of here. And this is also where they state that any of the online reports stating that they had been tied up or anything like that were inaccurate as well. And detective sees the contents of the 3 dumpsters on King Road to locate possible evidence. Does that mean that one dumpster that a lot of people are talking about seeing a guy go up and like put something in it or whatever, does that mean that one was also taken? It's like, I know it's not King. I know it's technically like on the next street over, but I wonder if that means that one was taken up too. Here we have already, they've got 4 detectives working at Moscow PD, but they've got 22 investigators in Moscow from the feds themselves, plus 2 behavior analysis unit people and 20 agents outside of that. 190. Some new stuff? Yeah, it's like the Linda Lane. It's like the house and then the walkway of the apartments, the Linda Lane camera, and then like over here would be the dumpster. Because we also had a little bit of footage of like that car with the sunroof that like did a circly thing. Have a good night, Mandy. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this one was November 19th. This is like the same thing over and over again. Yeah, nothing right here has changed. Then November 20th. So they have the press release website right here, but it's like blocked out and like, is it going to do it? Yeah. Sonia said to look around for like all of the Moscow stuff for the actual case itself. So I'm going to do that here in a minute. I need to go back though to this because it took me off stuff. Okay. Let's see. This one, the next day, November 20th. This is where we get told that multiple people talked with the 911 dispatch officer. At this time, investigation detectives do not believe any individual at the residence when 911 was called is involved in the crime, which kind of validates a lot of stuff that we've heard about multiple people that didn't live there being there, especially when it comes to the story that Drunk Turkey got from Christy about what they were told by Hunter Johnson about Xana's door. And now they're announcing a press conference. And then that's the original info. Then we have 11/11/22. Digital tips, anyone with information. On the night of the incident, officers located a dog at the residence. The dog was unharmed and turned over to Animal Services and then released to Jack, the responsible party being Jack. Rumor control detectives are aware of a Latell County Sheriff's Office incident of the report of a skinned dog. Oh yeah, the Buddy thing. So that's another thing. We had Buddy, the Buddy situation. Okay. And then we also had the dude dressed in all black threatening people with a knife and not related. Yeah, because they use what's it called? Whitcomb. It goes through Whitcomb. Yeah. Then the press release, the original info. Let's see. Local businesses contacted to determine if fixed blade knife had recently been purchased. Yeah, it's all the same stuff. Okay. Then we have Monday evening Blaine Street incident. This was, is this the one where they said that they had like a girl's underwear in the road, or is that something else? I'm going to read it because I'm not really quite positive. I know I've heard of this, but I don't remember the details. Okay. So this is for November 22nd of 2022. This is about 2 weeks after the murders. Monday evening, Blaine Street incident update, which is interesting because where's the original? Unless I missed it right here. I must have missed it. I don't know. Okay. Just before 5:15 p.m. last night, so that would have been on 11/21, 911 received a call reporting suspicious activity at the 600 block of Blaine Street. A female caller informed the dispatcher that she saw a male in the front passenger seat of her vehicle when she opened the car door. The female, who was with her sister, slammed the car door and ran screaming from the car and called 911. Multiple neighbors heard the girls screaming and came to assist. They checked the area but did not find anyone. The neighbors told responding officers that they had not seen anyone in or exit the vehicle. A passerby informed the sisters of seeing a male chasing them and left before speaking with officers. They were unable to confirm these details, and the officer was unaware of this information during the time of the call. The police checked the area. Officers contacted a male matching the description but learned he and a friend had just returned from a restaurant, and the male approached the sisters to help. The male withdrew and waited to talk with officers when accused of being involved. Right? Like, this just kind of confirms that, like, it's not as safe as they're trying to say. Not as safe as they're trying to say. Literally at all. Literally at all. Based on their knowledge at the time, officers closed the incident as unfounded. This term is used to close an incident that cannot be initially substantiated. However, if additional information is obtained, the incident can be reopened. Online reports created immediate speculation that implied there was a link to this incident with the ongoing homicide investigation. We urge residents to remain alert and vigilant. Additionally, we remind the public and media that investigative release of information will be through official channels. So I wonder, is that guy the same as the guy with the knife in all black at the bike range? Bike trail. Is front seat car guy the same guy? So this is where they get rid of the stalking situation with Kaylee. Here's the original info. Let's see. November 23rd. This looks like the exact same thing. Unable to corroborate the stalking situation. So as of November 23rd, they had 103 pieces of evidence, and they've not really collected anything else because isn't like the last count like barely over 102? Like I swear they said something like 100 pieces of evidence, and I'm like, that's it? I just don't get it. How do you not have more? All the money you've spent, all the stuff you've done over and over again. November 25th. 113 pieces of physical evidence. $1 million for state emergency funding. We know it's been so much more than that. Oh my goodness, so much more than that. November 27th. 78 calls for unusual circumstances and 36 requests to check the welfare of loved ones. Yeah, because people are on edge. It's been some weeks and no one knows what's happening. Every little noise is making people crazy. There was a death on Baker Street from February of 2022. Is that Hannah? I'm hoping in trial. I'm hoping in trial. Yeah. But I don't know what it is. I just don't know. There's the red Mustang that people were talking about. I never felt like that was relevant. I listened to that recording or whatever that JLR had apparently found behind a dumpster. Okay. I listened to that whole thing, and I never thought that red vehicles made any sense to the situation. The timing and stuff didn't even make sense either. All right, let's see. Relocated the 5 vehicles. Yeah. This is all the same info over and over again. So do we know like why she's decided to put all of these in here? Because this is all like pre-Bryan, and nothing in this so far in all of these freaking pages that we've gone through is doing anything like bad to Bryan just yet. Here's where they talk about the 6th person on the lease, which I believe is that Ashley girl, I think. No, there was a red vehicle at a trailer park area. Sort of area. There might have been another blue vehicle, but I remember a blue vehicle being talked about too, but I remember there being a red Mustang or something like that, a red car. I mean, yeah, but this is not the internet speculation stuff. This is all the actual police stuff. So, I mean, I'm sure whenever we get to the hearing, she'll make it make more sense. December 2nd. Let's see. Okay, now this is where they talk about the 6th person again. It's all the same stuff. Media interest. December 3rd. They're still at 113 pieces of physical evidence. So they never ever collected anything else. That's what it seems like. Okay. Now we have November 5th. No, I'm lying. December 5th. There have been statements, speculation about this case, victims' injuries, cause of death, evidence collection, processing. I mean, obviously, there being rumors about evidence collection isn't really a rumor. And I need to go back and remember exactly like which one it is. But there is one document that Judge has like next to his signature. It says that the court has concerns with chain of custody for something, but we don't know which like piece of evidence or that they're talking about there. I wish that like it's more specific. That'd be nice. December 6th. This is where they start moving stuff out the house starting December 7th. Keep going. And then we have, see right here. We're not going to forget this, French fry man. All right. We're not ever going to forget that you said this to us. Occupants. Okay. Never going to forget it. Now, what they did here, it looks like they took a picture of the car and they took the background out and put a fake background. I just don't understand again, like I've mentioned 1,000 times, out of the, what is it, 50 terabytes? Is that right? I mean, basically, we know now that all of the stuff that they do have the car on is bullshit. We know that now. But all the stuff they had, regardless of if they could actually give us a license plate or not, because even look at here, there's no front license plate on this stock one. There's no license plate on this sideways one. Why couldn't they just give us 51? Yeah, Twizzy, 51. Why couldn't they just give us a still shot of the actual freaking car on the actual freaking footage? It just never made sense to me. It never made any sense to me whatsoever. It made no damn sense. December 8th. Let's see. That's the Honda. Same thing. December 9th. Online activity. No threats, harassment. Y'all need to get y'all's poop together is basically what that one was. December 10th. Commencement weekend. Lots of people coming in and out of town, telling people to be safe, be vigilant. Than the previously reported information. And like all of this is just going to be getting like more and more and more. December 12th. More tips about the Hyundai. December 13th. It's been a month. They're trying to piece everything together. They don't know anything at all. Literally at all. December 15th. It's going through 22,000 registered. Okay. There was some idiot. He's had his channel taken from him, I don't even know how many times. And he's some other channel name now. But he actually like used my name running his stupid old faceless mouth about how I keep talking about the fact that there was like over 20,000 cars that they had to vet. And he's like, you know, that's just an exaggeration. It's not true. I can't believe Jules is so stupid. Me and Andrea Burkhart. He was talking shit about me and Andrea Burkhart. And I'm like, Home Skillet. It's literally right here talked about by the cops. What am I doing wrong by reading a document? You can go take your little boo-boo somewhere. That's why you keep getting your damn channel taken from you and you have to keep starting over because you suck. It says it right here. Over 22,000. 22,000. That's a lot of cars. But it's still crazy to me because they saw one on November 29th. And they didn't prioritize that one. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Let's see. December 16th. Digital content. Digital submissions. Yeah, that idiot. Honestly, I really feel like he's Gray Hughes's like other personality. That's what he reminds me of. See, this will put me up here somewhere. I'm trying to move this thing around. Put it over here. I'm still learning how to use all this stuff, guys. And see, I don't want my face to be that big either. I want most of the paperwork to be in here. Y'all can see all this moving around, can't y'all? That's funny. Okay. Oh, that's not even. Now, see, I got to fix it because now I'm not even. Oh, man. What about like that? Oh, my goodness. My OCD is going to take over. It's not right. Oh, my goodness. I think that's close. Nope. 1 second. Save. Okay. Okay. Make it a little bit bigger too. There we go. Okay. And more boo-boo. Okay, let's see. December 19th again. The number of tips and leads have come to a 10,000 mark. Well, that's not a monument because, like, what are you talking about? You're on December 19th. You've gone through 10,000 pieces of evidence and you still don't know anything about anything. This is what they're telling us. Okay, let's see. This is where they tell us, hey, we know about the one in Eugene, Oregon. A lot of people have questions about that. A lot of them. The vehicle is registered out of Colorado, and the female owner is not believed to have any relation to the property in Moscow, Idaho, or the ongoing murder investigations. No, I never looked into that one myself. I know what people were saying. I know what people were showing. People swear there was connections to the King Roadhouse with that car and that the cops are lying. But I don't know. I didn't look myself. I can't validate that. And then we have December 22nd. Nothing important again. And they're still talking about having 22,000 vehicles to go through. December 24th. Now, December 24th, they should have been like already in Pennsylvania. They should have already been in Pennsylvania. No suspect identified at the time, but that's not true. They lying. December 27th, they should definitely be in Pennsylvania. Because isn't this the date that they got the trash can DNA, or was that the 28th? I feel like it was the 27th. I could be wrong. Oh, okay. We're going to do a video about the stupid TikTok psychic. I've been wanting to do it, but then I kind of wanted it to be one of those finalized one video situations, right? And she went through defamation court and was a smartass and ended up like, she's a horrible human. So this is where they came out, I believe, for the first time, officially talking about the female professor that this TikTok psychopath had tried to put the blame on, this crazy stuff. No, it was 11/29. It was all the way back by Thanksgiving. But yeah, we're going to do a video now that that's pretty much like coming to an end. We're going to have to. Crazy ass woman. December 29th. Now, for shizzle, they're in Pennsylvania. For shiz, they're in Pennsylvania. And they're still sitting here. Are they going to say no suspects? Oh, they lying. Look at them lying. Look at them liars. Now we have the arrest being made. Was that the same date? No, just a couple hours later. Okay. No, they made the arrest. Let's see. Is there anything special in here? I don't think so. I'm going to read it anyway. Last night, in conjunction with the Pennsylvania State Police and Federal Bureau of Investigation, 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger was arrested in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania on a fugitive from justice arrest warrant. He is wanted on 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary for entering a residence with the intent to commit murder. Kohberger resides in Pullman, Washington, and is a graduate student at Washington State University. And then it gives the timeline. And that's whenever they announced the press conference. So on the 29th, they're telling us no suspects have been identified. But at this point, they've already gotten the trash DNA, sent it over, gotten whatever they got, and then are about to arrest him. Like they're getting the teams together as they're drafting this letter of lies. It's interesting. Interesting. Okay. Then we have the press conference. Okay. Okay. Let's see. How many pages is this one? Because I'm going to cut this off at 9 o'clock, around 9 o'clock. Holy guacamole, broski. Interesting. Okay. Oh, I went too far. Let's see. Okay. You ready? We're going to read this for a while. I, Bryan Edelman, which is the survey doctor, solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm as follows. Introduction. I am the co-founder of Trial Innovations. I'm not doing none of that. I want to get to the facts. I want to get to what he's talking about. Okay, counsel for the defense in State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger retained me to research and evaluate whether there was extensive and prejudicial pretrial publicity in Latah County surrounding the killing of 4 students attending the University of Idaho in Moscow, the community panic that ensued during the search for a suspect, and the alleged evidence tying Bryan Kohberger to the murders. Determine if the media coverage has impacted the defendant's ability to obtain a fair and impartial jury in Latah County, evaluate potential bias in alternate venues, and based on the findings, recommend appropriate remedial measures, for example, a change of venue to protect the Kohberger's ability to be tried by a fair and impartial jury. As part of my analysis, I evaluated relevant newsprint, television, and social media coverage surrounding these events and conducted a community attitude survey of 400 residents in Latah County. Comparison surveys were conducted in Ada Canyon and Bannock counties. It is my opinion that the residents in Latell County have been exposed to extensive prejudicial pretrial publicity and social media surrounding the murders of Kaylee Goncalves, Maddie Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The coverage of Bryan Kohberger included interviews with former friends and students and old posts from his social media accounts dating back 2 years. So I guess they're going to probably talk about the Reddit stuff. This publicity painted a picture of a disturbed individual capable of committing violence. The media also saturated the jury pool with potential trial evidence in details, some of which provide to be false or misleading, that create a presumption of guilt. The pretrial publicity is replete with references to GPS phone data from the defendant's phone, video footage of the alleged getaway vehicle reported to be his make and model, evidence left by the killer at the crime scene, DNA results, and erroneous connections to the victims. Yeah, that's a lot. Much of this information came directly from the probable cause affidavit shared with the media by Latell County Prosecutor Bill Thompson during a December 30th, 2020 televised news conference. You mean 2022? 2022? Okay. Where were we? Where were we? Okay, yeah, it wasn't 2020. It was 2022. So not a big deal, I guess. With the media in attendance, Mr. Thompson encouraged them to share the true facts with all of your readers, the watchers, and listeners, and all the people who are interested and really need to know what's going on. He did say that. He faux shizzle said that. I remember. He said that. These killings sent shockwaves through the local community and generated widespread panic during the 6-week search for the killer. During this time, there was tremendous pressure on law enforcement to find the person responsible for the murders and share details about the investigation with the public. With investigators reluctant to share information before making an arrest, rumors and misinformation proliferated via informal communication channels and social media about the crime. The victims were bound and gagged. The killer called 911. What? Oh, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I didn't know that that was a rumor. I knew that that was a rumor. I totally knew that that was a rumor. I don't know why I just acted all surprised. Okay. And the killer, it was a driver who took the victims home. The roommates were involved. Kohberger had killed before, are rumors. We actually have all heard stuff that people were speculating. During this time, it was reported that detectives received 2,645 email tips, 2,770 phone tips, and 1,084 digital media submissions from the public. That's a lot. That's super lot. Residents remained on high alert and feared that the killer could strike again. Many students went home for the Thanksgiving break early and did not return. One second. Okay. Let's see. On December 10th, University of Idaho spokeswoman Jody Walker told the media that an estimated 25% to 40% of students had not yet returned to campus. One of the victims' sisters encouraged students to go home rather than risk their lives. To the students at the University of Idaho that are still staying around campus, leave. Your grades are severely less important than your lives. Who said that? Was that Olivia? Or was that Jasmine? Does anybody know which one it was? Because I don't know. Police Chief Fry tried to reassure the public that everyone was safe, and the University of Idaho drastically increased campus security. The Moscow community joined together to support the victims and their families. A candlelight vigil was held on campus, and thousands of stickers were handed out. Another candlelight vigil was held on the one-year anniversary of the murders. In addition, a tree that serves as the centerpiece of Moscow's Friendship Square was decorated with messages written by community members to honor the 4 victims during the holiday season. The Healing Garden was inspired by the murders and created to memorialize all students who had died while attending the university. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, because they use the actual Idaho 4 victims' names to raise like hella money, like 800 grand. 800 grand for a garden, bro. For a garden. And it was all like not supposed to be for everybody, which it's nice that they do want to memorialize something for like everybody, but they use the false pretense. You know what I mean? Like it was false advertisement, basically, because it was told to be only for these victims, and they really just used it to gain momentum, is really all that it was. The King Road home victims, where the victims lived. Nope, I just read a word there that didn't belong there. The King Road home, where the victims lived, was demolished based on requests from the student body. That's not true. Is that actually true? Because it was off campus. Plus, we already know that like they wanted it gone for a reason. We heard from students in the area that they were ready for the house to come down. However, the decision was met with criticism and fomented another round of speculation and misinformation. A community attitude survey was conducted to assess the impact of the media coverage on the Latell County jury pool. Approximately 98% of the survey respondents were familiar with the case. Yeah, not surprising. We already read that. But so I guess it's not like a separate survey. It's the same survey, and I'm guessing maybe that other doctor worked with him on it. That's what I'm just going to assume. That's how it's making it sound now. And let's see. In addition, community members have more than just a passing familiarity with this crime. Approximately 68% of survey respondents reported that they have followed the case somewhat or very closely, with 29% falling into the latter category. In addition, 79% of survey respondents recognized at least 5 of 9 media items tested in the survey, and 52% knew 7 or more. 81% of those familiar with the case had read, seen, or heard that police found a knife sheath on the bed next to one of the victims, and 67% were aware that DNA found on the sheath was matched to Bryan Kohberger. In addition, 86% of Latell County survey respondents heard that the defendant owned the same type of car recorded on video driving in the neighborhood where the killings occurred, and 79% knew that cell tower data purportedly show that Kohberger made several trips near the victim's home months before the killing, which technically isn't accurate. Technically not accurate whatsoever. These findings are particularly concerning, given that all these media items, which came from the probable cause affidavit mentioned during the December 30th press conference, were significantly related to prejudgment. For example, 72% of Latell County prospective jurors who knew that police found a knife sheath, and 75% of those who had heard there was a DNA match believe Kohberger is guilty of murder. These findings put the defendant at a distinct disadvantage at the start of trial. Many of the incriminating details widely reported in the media are in dispute, including the claim that Kohberger's vehicle was placed near the crime scene by video footage and cell tower data. However, the burden of proof has shifted to the defendant, who must change jurors' pre-existing opinions regarding the evidence against Kohberger developed from exposure to biased media coverage. Yeah, so let's just touch on that for a second, because that's true. Ann Taylor has told us in court that she has been given video footage of a car that she swears up and down ain't Bryan's. And she doesn't understand basically why it's in there. And I've wondered that too. Why do you have admissible evidence that the attorneys are going over, but it's not his car? And it's noticeable enough for his attorney to stand there in court and it be on court record and not the car. Not the car. Why are you showing me this? Not the car. Just insane. Let's see. Where was I? Okay. The size of the venue is another important factor to consider in this case. Sensational crimes are more likely to have a longer lasting impact on the public's consciousness in smaller counties than in larger ones where violent crimes are more common. Informal communication channels, including social media, can also have a greater effect in spreading rumors and misinformation in smaller communities. Latah County is the 11th largest county in Idaho, with just 32,515 residents over the age of 18. In addition, 66% or 21,598 of the county's jury-eligible population reside in Moscow, the community most impacted by these murders. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, it's a school, of course. Several rumors have proliferated in Latah County. For example, survey response. Let's see if this fixed. I just kicked my camera. I'm so rude. Okay. Several rumors have proliferated in Latah County. For example, survey respondents reported that Kohberger had a bad history with women, was responsible for other murders in Pennsylvania and Washington, bragged about committing the perfect murder, and was acting strange after the murders. Others reported that he was obsessed with one of the victims, had dated her, tracked her location at all times, and had been in the house in the past. Oh, so now he's JP Miller? No, highly unlikely. Survey respondents also mentioned rumors about drugs, other suspects involved, an online business that was sexual in nature, and parties at the victim's house. Yeah, we heard so much crazy stuff about a fan. You guys know what I mean. If they did, then they did. If they didn't, then they didn't. I don't know. I didn't go looking. This wasn't a one-person situation. This was an entire house of 4 people that didn't really have like too much in common, honestly. Okay, where were we? Okay, Okay. The survey data show that the media coverage has shifted the burden of proof to the defendant. Many Latah County prospective jurors exposed to prejudicial media coverage hold a presumption of guilt. Approximately 67% of survey respondents who knew about the case reported that Bryan Kohberger is guilty of murder, with 25% indicating that he is definitely guilty. The presumption of guilt increased to 81% for those who recognized 7 or more media items. Well, that's interesting. I'll look into that in a second. Let's see, where were we? 19% reported that Kohberger would not have a difficult time convincing them of his innocence. As for sentence, 52% of survey respondents believe the jury should sentence Kohberger to death if he is convicted, compared to 24% who favor life without the possibility of parole. The survey data also provide insight into the extent of personal connections among Latah County residents in Moscow, the University of Idaho, and the murders. Approximately 88% of those familiar with the case have talked about it or heard others talking about it in person or online. In addition, 78% of survey respondents lived in Moscow and knew someone who lived there at the time of the murders. Another 25% reported that they or a family member was a student or was connected to the murder investigation. I just skipped a whole freaking sentence. was a student or employee at the University of Idaho in Moscow. A sizable percentage of the prospective jury pool was also connected to the murder investigation. Approximately 22% of Latah County survey respondents are employed or know someone employed by a law enforcement agency involved in the investigation. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. They're all connected in some way. That's how it works. You live amongst each other. You work amongst each other. Not like an uncommon situation for all these people to be connected, honestly. It just makes corruption not a conspiracy. It makes it a reality because this is how stuff works. That's how stuff works. Let's see. I really don't want to read all these percentages. I want to get to like important stuff. Let's see. 93% of Ada County survey respondents have read, seen, or heard about the case. So that's only a few percentage off, guys. What was this one up here? Like 98%, right? So Latah County has 98% of people that have some sort of familiarity with the case. And the one that they want to switch to is only 5% different. So what's the difference? I don't understand. Just 5%. It's just 5%. Here, let's see. I don't want to read all the percentages of stuff. Does it feel like it's too much different, honestly? Like they have a bigger selection, as I really think the only reason that they're going, but the percentages don't look much different. Not enough to matter, honestly. In conclusion, given the extent and nature of the pretrial publicity in Latah County, coupled with its negative impact on the jury pool, it is my opinion that there is a reasonable likelihood that the defendant's constitutional rights to a fair trial have been undermined. As such, it is my opinion that remedial measures, including a change of venue, are appropriate to ensure a fair and impartial trial. And see, this is just his qualification. Work experience, venue experience, expert witness experience. There's nothing case specific here. This is basically just him writing. This is just a bunch of case law, media analysis. Okay, a search of the Moscow Pullman Daily News, the Idaho Argonaut, and the Lewiston Morning Tribune uncovered 444 articles which reference these events between November 13th and June 23rd of 2024. So just last month. Damn. This is a conservative estimate and does not include other newspapers with readership in Latah County or anything online. Okay, let's see what this says. This is getting to like more specific stuff. The nature of the pretrial publicity is an important factor to consider when weighing the need for a change of venue. The initial pretrial publicity chronicled the elevated state of panic and fear in the community as residents and university students anxiously waited for law enforcement to announce an arrest during the search for a suspect. With the public demanding answers, the media drew on information from the 5 press conferences held by the Moscow Police Department, 8 interviews with Chief Fry and Captain Lanier, and almost daily press releases. This culminated with the widely televised press conference held by Chief Fry and County Prosecutor Bill Thompson after the December 30th arrest. Examples of this type of reporting include: he asked the public to remain vigilant as the killer is still on the loose. We cannot say that there is no threat to the community, and as we have stated, please stay vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and be aware of your surroundings at all times. Fry also addressed frustrations from the public over the slow pace of information coming from his department since Sunday. I guess that was like before that, the Sunday before the arrest. And Fry said police are looking at all evidence, including social media and anyone who might have a connection to the case. Fry offered assurance that the police are doing everything they can to let the people in our community know that we care. We want them to feel safe, he said. We want them to feel safe, and we're going to do everything we can to do that. University of Idaho Dean of Students Blaine Eccles said the university has increased campus safety patrols and students can arrange a security escort across campus. On Friday, U of I spokeswoman Jody Walker told the Daily News an estimated 25 to 40% of students have not returned to campus. With the perpetrator of the brutal murders of 4 University of Idaho students still at large, the sister of one of the victims posted on Instagram on Wednesday about the severity of the case and warned U of I students about an unsettled situation. To the students at the University of Idaho that are still staying around campus, leave. Aubrey Goncalves said it was not Olivia, the younger one. The younger one. Your grades are severely less important than your lives. With a number of students who left campus early, U of I has postponed a candlelight vigil that had been planned for Wednesday night on November 30th. Even though the individual moved within an urban setting early enough Sunday morning for some college students to still be up, the perpetrator acted with stealth. So police did not learn of the case for at least 8 hours, and by then, the crime scene may have gone cold. That's interesting that they put it that way. They have no suspect in custody. They have no murder weapon. With what appears to be a changing story from authorities, people question whether they are willing to trust their life with what they are being told. No joke. A killer who committed a mass murder in such a fashion and then escaped detection heaped rarity upon rarity. And that's why it has so much, right? That's why they have so much. Because none of it makes any sense. There's no answers. Defies logic. Right? Defies physics, defies logic, defies everything. It's just crazy to me. Possibly starstruck when the New York Times called Moscow Mayor Art, you know what? I'm not going to pretend like I know how to pronounce his name, called the homicide a crime of passion. Once the Idaho state of Boise got in touch, he started backpedaling. It could be any number of things. The police don't know yet. I haven't been told, which just proves that he just instantly wanted to sensationalize the situation for no reason, which is why a lot of people in the beginning thought that it was very, very similar to the type of cases that we see now. We see a whole bunch of people that suddenly decide that they just want to off everybody around them in their house, and they are literal family annihilators. And it could happen this way too. A lot of people were wondering if it was a situation between Etha and Xana that just went crazy. A lot of people wondered that in the beginning, which is crazy because it got really quickly knocked out the way that it wasn't an M/S situation. But I remember that being something a lot of people talked about. Speaking to the Statesman, Moscow Police Captain Anthony Dollinger almost sounded reluctant to characterize the episode as violent. All I can say is the deaths are ruled a homicide at this point, and homicide and murder are synonymous. We certainly have a crime here, so we are looking for a suspect. All of which created the impression of a murder investigation mirrored in chaos. Yeah. More than a little bit. Students will have the option to attend classes virtually, President Scott Green said in a University of Idaho communication. Detectives are continuing to process more than 2,645 email tips, 2,770 phone tips, and all of that. Okay, I don't understand still what this has to do with the change of venue. This is just another rundown of everything that we know from before he was arrested. During the 7-week search for the killer, law enforcement was hesitant to release information to the public that could undermine the investigation. This left an information vacuum, which allowed misinformation and rumors to flourish. Videos of purported suspects appeared on social media, and a so-called psychic internet sleuth, made false accusations against a university professor. Groups were created to discuss the murders and share information across social media platforms. Oh, thank you, CR. That was very sweet of you. Thank you for gifting a membership. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Many of these groups quickly grew to thousands of members who shared rumors and theories about what happened. Social influencers and crime sleuths created podcasts and episodes covering the murders and updates. The victims' families also made public statements venting their frustrations with law enforcement and the criminal justice process through traditional channels and social media. Examples of this type of publicity are as follows. This is stuff from who? They're saying the victims' families made public statements. Okay. We went from no danger to the community to a targeted attack of one or more of the victims to being told to be vigilant. With the lack of any additional details, that seems like a change. They tried to alleviate the fears of the community while not harming the integrity of the investigation. Unfortunately, that is what led to a trust issue. Rumors circulated about who did it, even going so far as to posit that one of the victims did it. That's the whole M/S situation. Others blamed drugs. Additionally, online reports of the victims being tied up are not accurate, the police stated. Rumors have circulated that the victims were, again, they're talking about that again, and that's not apparently not accurate. Of course, that's what they're telling us. That's just what they're telling us. Addressing misinformation, Lanier said they do not believe the following individuals are suspects. The driver who took Madison Mogen and Kaylee Goncalves home on November 13th, a man in a white hoodie seen at Grub Truck, and the surviving two roommates. A man who was called multiple times by Madison and Kaylee that night has also been cleared, according to Police Chief James Fry, which would be Jack Ducour. The MPD could not release who made the 911 call at 11:58 a.m., but confirmed it was made with one of the surviving roommates' phones from inside the residence. The call is not believed to have been made by the killer. And that's where we were told, the story that we were being told by the families is that Hunter Johnson went over there because he was called over there because they couldn't get Xana's door open. He got the door open enough to see what was going on inside, said, get the F out, call the cops. The roommates apparently went to go call the cops, but nobody could speak, or they were speaking to where no one could really understand. But Hunter Johnson apparently seems to not be the only person that showed up, because as quickly as that all happened, there were so many people talking in the background of the 911 call from what we're being made to believe that it was indistinguishable what was happening. So there's that. Which, again, I will tell you, and we've gone over this before, they were literally on the ground in Pennsylvania. They already had the arrest warrants and everything signed and ready to go. They were putting their teams together. They were in Pennsylvania, boots on the ground in Pennsylvania. And they were teasing us with the 911 call being released when they already knew that that wasn't going to happen. They already knew the next day they were going to be announcing an arrest. So I don't know why they did that, but it still makes me upset. I'm just going to say that. The department also addressed a rumor that the homicides are somehow connected to an incident that occurred last month in which a couple of dogs were found skinned in Moscow. The Moscow Police Department addressed a Monday night incident allegedly involving a suspicious male on Blaine Street. We went through that thing. A female told the dispatcher she saw a male in the front seat. We're not going through all this again. A passerby alleged told the sisters the same thing, same incident. Okay, investigators have looked into claims. Investigators have looked into claims that Goncalves may have had a stalker, but have not been able to find evidence corroborating those statements. We already know that it wasn't Bryan. But a mix of news reports that cited anonymous sources and speculation on social media have persisted in alleging the FBI was tailing Kohberger and asked that he be pulled over. That's the Indiana stops. The federal judge heard arguments Friday morning in the case involving a TikTok personality who accused a University of Idaho professor of ordering the November 13th Moscow murders that left. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I'll just run it down really, really, really quick. This TikTok psychic was trying to claim that a professor named Rebecca Schofield was the one who called the hit on the victims, and she tried to allege that it was because she was having a bisexual relationship with Kaylee. And somehow Jack Ducour was involved in all that too. Somehow. And she got served paperwork and all kind of stuff, and she basically used the defamation lawsuit initially that she got as like toilet paper, and she put these filters on her face acting like she was big crying. She's a big smart ass. She's getting what she gets for sure. Huge smart ass. Huge smart ass. Ashley Gilliard, the TikTok personality, continued to make accusations against Professor Rebecca Schofield during Friday's hearing. Yeah, we're going to do a video on that. Let's see. We feel the University of Idaho and the court has put us in a horrible position to have to voice our opinions, the Facebook post said. We all along have just wanted the King Road home to not be demolished and for us to have a trial date so that we can look forward to justice being served. That would have had to have been from the Goncalveses. Yeah. She also said it has attracted YouTubers and others who try to access the property or look for souvenirs, which is gross enough. Okay. But that's still not enough to demolish it before trial. I mean, you paying enough money for this case. Up the security. It was unnecessary. Unnecessary. As the investigation continues to go unresolved, the father of one of the victims spoke to national media about his frustration with the investigation. Steve Goncalves told Fox News that the public should be looking out for a sadistic male because the information he received from Latah County Coroner Kathy Mabbitt indicates the killer is a strong individual. I got outraged by them not coming out and saying this was a woman or a man because they should know by the amount of strength it took to deliver the injuries, he told Fox News. They are just being cowards. I remember that. I remember that interview. That's the don't make me do it. Don't make me be the alpha interview, right? Goncalves said he does not know whether his daughter or Mogen were the targets. They both died in the same bed. I have my own suspicions, he said. In a video statement on the Moscow Police Department's YouTube channel, Captain Roger Lanier said the police are seeing tips that are geared more towards rumors instead of facts that have been released by law enforcement. He said the rumors and speculation have had a negative effect on the victims' families and the friends of the victims, some of whom have received death threats and harassment. Welcome, Allie. Welcome, Allie. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And you have to think about this too. Think about this too. The channels out here that are doing the most, okay, to the point to where they have basically hypnotized themselves into seeing things that do not exist because of how much they are focusing on things, all right? Claiming to see things and reflections of rear windows, even though this stuff happened inside of a house, okay? Like just insane stuff. Those people are literally emailing and calling and all the things, all these crazy things. So on top of real evidence, real tips and real things are all these lunatics, okay? All these actual, factual, non-factual lunatics that are sending in all this crazy stuff. And whenever they have YouTube channels and they're out here by the thousands spreading their disease, okay, then that means that the police department get even more bombarded with a bunch of boo-boo. So that's another big problem, big, huge problem with stuff like this. During a December 30th, 2022 press conference, which was live streamed on YouTube, Chief of Police James Fry and Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson announced that Bryan Kohberger had been arrested. Although few details were released, Mr. Thompson pointed the media to the probable cause affidavit, which would be released after Kohberger's extradition from Pennsylvania, with the court issuing a gag order in an attempt to protect the defendant's due process rights. The media drew heavily from this document and widely reported on purported evidence connecting Bryan Kohberger to these murders. DNA, cell phone tower, stuff that we know really doesn't matter too much at all. These details were widely disseminated and discussed by the media for 16 months without any debate over their veracity. Only during an April 2024 hearing regarding the defense's change of venue survey did Mr. Thompson state in an open court that many of these representations, which were tested in the survey, were false or may not be offered at trial. Okay, but I'm going to say this. Anne is just as responsible. Okay? Because what I've learned is that even though there's a gag order, if there are false rumors and false statements coming out about a case during a gag order, the defendant attorney has the right to address the false accusations, like address the false information. From what I understood with the research I did when looking up the state grand jury versus the federal grand jury, that was one of the things that I learned was that. So whenever I heard that, I'm like, okay, so you mean Anne could have came out there this entire time and said, this part, all the, this rumor about him stalking them on social media that keeps popping up on Law and Order and all these different Hulu documentaries and shit. It's not true. There's no evidence that has been presented to us in the discovery at this time to prove that Bryan Kohberger stalked the victims. That is a false statement. She could have come out and fixed this. She could have come out and fixed some of this stuff. So I don't know. I feel like she could have come out and said something. I don't know. Okay. Despite the court's best efforts to stem the flow of prejudicial information to the public, Latell County residents have been saturated with a deluge of details pulled from the affidavit, warrants, and other documents that were not filed under seal. Much of this coverage has the potential to undermine the presumption of innocence and shift the burden of proof onto the defendant. The media detailed evidence allegedly linking Kohberger to the murders, including cell tower data tracking his movements, video footage of the purported killer's car near the victim's home, an alleged DNA match with more than 99.9% likelihood of connecting Kohberger to the crime scene, evidence confiscated from Kohberger's home and car, and witness accounts from one of the victim's roommates. Examples of this type of prejudicial coverage include: police allege in a probable cause affidavit that he made at least 14 visits to the cell tower coverage area of the King Roadhouse, including twice on the day of the student's death. Cell phone data was a key part of the evidence that led to Kohberger's arrest in December of 2022, and Mallory, one second. Okay, had to drink some water. Let's see. And Mallory created visuals displaying cell phone data during the grand jury. I mean, we know that they talked about the grand jury situation and Mallory's involvement, but we also know that all of the very vital information for the location specific of the crime and the time specific to the crime apparently isn't there. Like it's not there for him to even know that it exists. It doesn't exist. So what exactly was it that was created? What did he use to create this visual if the cell phone data apparently is missing according to Cyray? What could he have possibly used? I mean, is it the stupid, what you call it? My stupid eye will not stop twitching. It's like right here. It's right here in the freaking corner. The crappy map. Was it the crappy map in the PCA? Is that what he gave? Because the real data is not there. So what did he use? It doesn't even make any sense. Investigators were able to trace the movement of the phone heading through Genesee, Idaho, Uniontown, Idaho, and back to Pullman. The estimated locations were consistent with that of the white Elantra. According to those cell phone towers between Pullman and Moscow, a phone registered to Kohberger stopped reporting to the network or was disabled on the night of the killings between 2:47 and 4:48 a.m., a 2-hour gap, consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide, the affidavit said, which is not accurate. Not accurate at all. You smart people know that. Here we go. The cell phone data shows that Kohberger's phone was recorded at 2:47 a.m. in an area that provides coverage southeast of Kohberger's Pullman residence, the affidavit said, suggesting that he had been on the move. The phone does not begin to show up in the network again until 4:48 a.m. when it is reported in an area along U.S. Highway 95 south of Moscow. Between 4:50 and 5:26 a.m., the phone is recorded traveling south on U.S. 95 drive to Genesee, Idaho, then traveling west into Washington towards Uniontown, and then ultimately back to Pullman. At 5:30 a.m., the phone is recorded in an area consistent with Kohberger's residence. In the weeks and months before the killings, cell tower data recorded that Kohberger made at least a dozen trips near the King Road residence since his cell phone account was opened in June, according to court records. All of the trips were late in the evening or early morning, except for one, the affidavit said. According to the probable cause affidavit, local police used surveillance footage of the Elantra and cell phone data to track his alleged movements before and after the November 13th murders. Detailed tracking of Kohberger's cell phone and extensive security video of a car investigators believe is his. Well, Ann Taylor doesn't believe it is. Ann Taylor does not believe it is. The data did allegedly show him taking a route to and from Moscow consistent with the white Elantra police saw on video footage. Cell phone data also shows him in Moscow near the King Road residence on at least 12 occasions between June and November 13th. Almost all of these occasions occurred in the late evening and early morning hours. Investigators were able to identify that the 8458 phone was receiving signal from nearby cell towers near King Road at least 12 times before November 13th, usually in the late night or early morning hours. Oh my God, it's the same thing over and over and over. I'm repeating myself. Parrot, 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 parrot. Investigators combed through hours of security video for multiple cameras and concluded that the killer likely had been driving a white Hyundai Elantra manufactured between 2011 and 2016. But let's also not forget, they were originally looking for a Nissan Sentra. And they also got the damn car wrong. And so that technically means they got the car wrong twice, not once, which is wild to me. FBI expert getting things wrong. He found a 2015 Elantra registered to Kohberger. He owned and drove a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra sedan. Found the Elantra that day parked near Kohberger's apartment. He ran the plates and provided information. This is where they saw the car on 11/29 from the WSU system. The Elantra was recorded numerous times on security cameras in the neighborhood where the killings occurred from 3:29 a.m. to 4:20 a.m. on the morning of the attacks. There's no proof that damn car was Bryan's. I don't know why they keep playing these games. The last time the Elantra was recorded in the neighborhood, police said the camera captured it traveling at a high rate of speed. A review of security camera footage in Pullman showed a car that appears to be a white Elantra leaving Pullman and headed towards Moscow at 2:53 that morning. Cameras also picked up a car appearing to be a white Elantra at 5 different locations in Pullman, including on WSU's campus around 5:25 a.m. You know what we don't hear? How many Hyundai Elantras in that year range are actually at WSU? Because if there's 22,000 registered that they literally had to pull records for and go through per the documents, just saying. How many of them were actually in that area? How many college students have that car? It's gas efficient, probably pretty safe. It's a Hyundai, so it's pretty cheap. Those are like one of the lower, like Hyundai and Kia are like the lower priced vehicles. They're great value. You really can get a lot of mileage out of those cars, but they're on the cheaper end. How many of them were actually just there? How many of them actually belong to just WSU students? How many of them belong to just WSU employees? I mean, we only know that one that they tell us in the PCA because it's the only one that's relevant to Bryan. They could have been looking in that system for hours and hours before they found that one that they sent him over to Steptoe to look at. We don't know. We don't know. It could have been multiple cars leaving that apartment complex that looked similar at the same time. Especially since most of this stuff would have been in black and white. Like they're just not doing a good job whatsoever. CNN. Oh, did I read this part? Appears to be white, leave him. Yeah, I did. Okay. CNN also reported that Kohberger drove to his parents' home in Pennsylvania from Pullman in a white Hyundai Elantra. CNN reported it? Official body cam showed that. What do you mean? I hope they put that in here. I mean, I know they already did, but it's on like the camera. For weeks, investigators have been urging the public to send in any tips on a 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra they believe was at the crime scene around the time of November 13th murders. A vehicle later identified as a white Hyundai Elantra was seen driving by the apartment more than 3 times. Are they talking about Linda Lane? Is this Linda Lane? King Road was not an apartment. So I wonder if this is Linda Lane being talked about. Investigators were given access to video footage from WSU that shows a white vehicle leaving for Moscow and later returning a couple of hours later. Give me a second. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Oh, getting on my damn nerves. And you know what? My ex had gotten some like nerve pills before for me to try to use because I get like weird twitches and stuff like that. And because I do this a lot, like I've been typing at my job for like ever, like literally ever. Oh, that's a good point. It probably is 500 Queen because it's in the PCA. What was it called? Nervex or something about at Walmart. It's like blue and white. I lost function of my hands. Like I couldn't hold a pencil. I couldn't write. I literally like my nerves stopped working. I lost strength and power in my hands. So I can't even like really get anything off the counter. It might just be stress though, but it's right here in this corner. It's like a nerve right here. It's literally like 2 days since yesterday morning. It's driving me absolutely insane. I'm not trying to touch my face the whole time. I know some people get like aggravated with that. But I can't. Like, it's annoying the shit out of me. All right, let's see. They have the wrong date in here. On November 25th, WSU police officer Daniel Tiango found a white Elantra at the university that was registered to Kohberger. No. Later the same day, the vehicle was found in an apartment. No. It was 11/29. It was 11/29. That's crazy. They have the wrong information in here, and they just allowed it. The Elantra was seized when Pennsylvania State Police arrested Kohberger at his parents' home in the early morning hours of Friday. Police believe such a car was at the crime scene around the time. Man, they are jumping timelines. They are jumping timelines every freaking where. Jesus. Investigators said a white Hyundai Elantra made 2011 and 2016 was seen on surveillance footage before and after the homicides near where the students were killed at 1122 King Road. Kohberger and his father were pulled over along eastbound Interstate 70 on December 15th as they road tripped more than 2,500 miles from Pullman, Washington to eastern Pennsylvania, driving his white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Indiana police officers working independently, made 2 highway stops within 10 minutes just east of Indianapolis. The heavily scrutinized stops of Bryan Kohberger a month after the November slayings were instead routine interstate drug trafficking prevention operations. Why? Because his car is dirty? I don't believe them. I just don't believe them at all. I just don't believe them. I know damn well the feds did that. There's no way. I mean, we've heard this before. I've heard this 1,000 times. But when they came out originally, they said, oh, yeah, well, we lost him for like, what was it? Some hours, 12 hours, 10 hours, something like that. They lost him for a certain amount of time. And then after that report came out that they had lost him, then all of a sudden they were like, oh, no, that didn't have nothing to do with us. We didn't do anything. That was completely independent. I'm sorry, but if you get pulled over twice in 10 minutes, like you probably got some for real issues and probably should just like stop driving because that's for real serious. This doesn't even make any sense. Another jumping from the traffic stop to the knife sheath. Okay. A leather sheath for a combat style knife was located next to Mogen's body, the affidavit read. Police found a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogen's right side. The sheath had a K-bar USMC and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on its outside. The DNA on the knife sheath was key evidence that led Kohberger's arrest in December. According to the judge's order, investigative genetic genealogy, or IgG, was used to construct a family tree of people whose DNA matched with the DNA found on the knife sheath left at the King Road house. DNA was found on a leather knife sheath found next to Madison Mogen's body. The knife was stamped with a K-bar and a United States Marine Corps insignia. The knife sheath was sent to the Idaho State Lab, where an isolated male DNA sample was retrieved, but not the first time. Not the first time. The first time they tried to find anything, they couldn't find anything. That's why people have so many questions, because the first time that they did it, and you guys know this, the first time they said they found nada. It wasn't until they did something else to it that they finally found this single source DNA. But we damn straight heard them originally tell us, not heard them, but did they say it or was it written? I can't remember. But damn straight the first time they tried to find anything on it, they didn't find anything at all. Officers in Pennsylvania recovered trash from Kohberger's family residence on December 27th, through which the ISL was able to make a DNA profile. The DNA showed, wait a minute. Okay, so yeah, they would have to make the profile to match profile. That makes sense. Okay. The DNA showed a 99% match, showing the DNA from the family home was likely the father of the suspect. The Idaho State Lab later found a single source of male DNA on the button snap of the knife sheath. Now, yeah. Well, what they're doing here is they're going through, let me just remind you that this is like coverage, media coverage, stuff this is like fragments and sentences coming out of actual media coverage. Because if you didn't know better and you were reading this for the first time, then you would literally think DNA on leather knife sheath, trash. Then they found the single source DNA on the knife sheath. And then you really want to be thinking some crazy stuff. I hope this is not like a first time document for some people, because but who knows? It could be opposite. We just don't know. I know that they're not telling us the damn truth. That's for sure. Something's just not right here at all. Police believe this is Kohberger's DNA after comparing it to DNA evidence police obtained from the trash at Kohberger's parents' house 2 days before he was arrested. Local police found a knife sheath at the King Road home in Moscow, where the victims were found stabbed. On November 13th, single source male DNA that police believes belonged to Kohberger was found on that sheath. Investigators found DNA they believe belongs to the man accused of stabbing 4 University of Idaho students. Okay, like I'm reading this and I'm kind of I'm understanding the concept, okay? I'm understanding the concept. But so far, just sounds like it's like the timeline doesn't really sound like it's anything biased yet, honestly. It's just like kind of facts as they were given. I don't really hear anything. I don't know. Let's see. DNA found in the Kohberger's trash matches more than a 99.99 likelihood to be the father of the person whose DNA was found on the knife sheath. DNA was found on a snap button of a tan leather knife sheath left on the bed where the bodies of Mogen and Goncalves were discovered. According to court records, police believe the genetic material links Kohberger, a former Washington State University criminal justice graduate student, to the killings based on another DNA sample obtained from his family's trash in Pennsylvania on December 27th. The DNA was then matched to him through a cheek swab taken while he was in custody. Yes, that's true. And see, that's another thing, though. Like, Kohberger's defense team is not denying the fact that there's a match, and they're not denying the fact that it matches DNA on the knife sheath. They're asking how it got there, is what they're asking. So they're not denying the DNA match at all. at all. That's something a lot of people seem to like forget a little bit, that they're not claiming at all that he was not driving around, and they're not claiming whatsoever that the DNA doesn't match. What they're claiming is that he was going west and not east, and that even though the DNA matches, how it got there doesn't add up, is what they're saying. Police used a search warrant to collect a buccal swab from Kohberger, and the DNA comparison showed a statistical match. The DNA evidence came from a K-bar knife sheath that was found on a bed next to the bodies of Mogen and Goncalves in their King Road home near the U of I campus. The sheath was face down and partially under both Mogen's body and the comforter on the bed. The DNA did not match any DNA from convicted offenders, arrestees, or other crime scenes. It typically involves sending the DNA sample to a genetic genealogy service like Ancestry.com or 23andMe. Police who use these services can build a family tree to narrow a potential suspect based on age, gender, opportunity, and known physical characteristics. She used the word placed. Didn't she use that word in court, Heather? It's not enough to even match what they're supposed to actually do. You can't just do a test once and then say that it's actual results. You have to do it a minimum of 3 times. A minimum of 3 times. And then it's majority rules is the winner for that. That's how it works. So they wouldn't even have had enough to double check their own work with the amount that they're claiming that they had. It doesn't even make sense. What they're basically trying to tell us, to me, and just a little bit that I was taught when I got my degree, okay, there's not enough. There's not enough. There's not enough. They're not even following the basic standards of the scientific method when it comes to doing any of that stuff. You cannot do all of that checking and double checking and validating to make sure that it's accurate on what they've got. There's just no way. Just the first time. That's something else we actually should probably think about too, because let's just say the DNA was actually on there the first time that they ran through the sheath, but they just didn't find it. That means that there was already a run through of chemicals that already degraded that sample before they actually got to the sample, if that makes sense. If it was there originally. If it was actually there originally, which I doubt. Super, super doubt. It would have already been degraded before they even got the first sample of it. Here we go. No, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Police who use these services can build a family tree to narrow down a potential suspect based on age, gender. We read the part already. Okay. This led police to recover trash from the home of Kohberger's parents and compare DNA from that with the K-bar knife sheath. That comparison indicated the DNA found in the trash belonged to the biological father of the individual who left the DNA on the K-bar knife, the court document says. A roommate detailed seeing an individual dressed in black the night 4 University of Idaho students were killed. Peeking out of her door, Dylan did not see anyone at the time. She later heard crying coming from Xana's room. Dylan said they heard a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Dylan allegedly looked out their door again. Why are they calling her they there? I guess they're trying to keep it gender neutral because they're using initials. Just going to leave that alone. Spotting an individual dressed in all black. DM stated that the individual walked towards them, passing by to head towards the sliding glass door on the back of the residence. The person was described as wearing a mask that hid their mouth and nose, but left their eyes visible. The individual also had bushy eyebrows and appeared to be a man around the height of 5 feet 11 inches or taller. The roommate stated that when she opened her door again, she heard crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. She described him as at least 5'10", not muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. That's the one. That's the statement from the actual Brett Payne's probable cause order. That's his actual statement. The male walked past her as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male made his way towards the sliding glass door, and the roommate locked herself in the room. She stated she did not recognize him. The warrant details the seizure of 9 separate items, which included clothing belonging to Kohberger, a flashlight, 4 medical-style gloves, and a cheek swab of Kohberger himself. The swab? Sir. Swab. Okay. The list of items seized during the search. I cannot read all of a sudden. I gotta get this to stop twitching. What to punch myself in the eye. It doesn't stop. Ugh. Okay. The list of items seized during the search included 1 silver Defiant flashlight, 4 medical-style gloves, a T-shirt, a Washington State University sweatshirt, a pair of Nike 13 shoes, socks, shorts, and boxers. Police also took a DNA swab from his cheek. The evidence includes 1 nitrile black type glove, multiple hair strands, including 1 possibly from an animal. This would be the apartment, not the parents' house. Receipts from Walmart and Marshall's, a dust container from a vacuum, a computer tower, a dark red spot, 2 cuttings from an uncased pillow showing a reddish-brown stain, and 2 mattress covers with multiple stains. Seized from Kohberger's car were 63 separate items. Notable items include a knife of unknown type. I remember that. And it was the first one on the list. And I remember being oh, they did that on purpose. They totally did that on purpose. A pocket knife, a .40 Glock with 3 empty magazines, and several articles of black clothing, including a black mask. Among the items recovered by police were 3 knives, including one described as a Smith & Wesson pocket knife, and another listed as a Taylor cutlery knife with a leather sheath. Do you guys want to go back over the list? Maybe I'll do a poll, and maybe we'll do the documents live and rethink what they are now that it's been so long and we kind of know a whole lot more now. I mean, we don't know everything, right? But we know some. So maybe we'll go back over the seized items, especially since we know that Don Daniels was, completely irresponsible. We probably should. We actually probably should. All right, let's see. Knives, a handgun, multiple articles of black clothing, including a mask, were seized from Bryan Kohberger's Pennsylvania home. Authorities collected a disposable black glove, hair strands, and a pillow with reddish-brown stain, among other items, during a search of a Washington State University apartment unit rented by the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students. Initial analysis showed blood on 2 items that police seized during their search of Moscow homicide suspect Bryan Kohberger's Washington State University housing. Documents the university released Thursday revealed. Yeah, we have those documents. Testing of 50 items found in Kohberger's student's apartment in Pullman came back with at least trace amounts of blood on brown or reddish stained bedding, according to an inventory list obtained by the Idaho Statesman through a public records request. A mattress cover and an uncased pillow were positive for blood. A lot of people believe he just gets nosebleeds. That is probably nosebleeds. Very possible. The coverage also focused on Bryan Kohberger's alibi, which was called into question in the coverage on August 4th. Which was called into question in the coverage. On August 4th of 2023, it was reported that Kohberger claimed to be on a late drive around the time of the murders. According to the publicity, he had a habit of going for drives alone, but had not yet developed any evidence to support this alibi. The media often drew on comments in the prosecution's filings attacking the alibi, which was described as vague and lacking supporting evidence. The criticism was left uncontested until April 17th of 2024. Examples of this type of reporting include Kohberger has not yet provided an alibi. A blank. Bryan Kohberger's attorney claims the murder suspect was out driving the morning 4 University of Idaho students were murdered. As of now, Kohberger's only alibi is that he was driving alone in the evening hours of November 12th and early morning hours of November 13th. Kohberger often took nighttime drives to hiking destinations around the Palouse. That's a fact, actually. Taylor claims Kohberger was driving throughout the area south of Pullman and west of Moscow. The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students last fall said he was out driving alone the night of the attacks. Mr. Kohberger has long had a habit of going for drives alone, the objection reads. Often he would go for drives at night. He did so late on November 12th and into November 13th of 2022. Kohberger is not claiming to be at any specific location at an exact time. The defense wrote there's not a specific witness to say precisely where he was at each moment that night. Bryan Kohberger admits he went on a late drive alone around the time of the November 13th quadruple murders in Moscow, but he anticipates witnesses will corroborate that he was not at the King Road crime scene that night. Now, that's not technically true because he doesn't have any physical witnesses he can pull himself. What he basically is claiming and what the defense has been claiming from the beginning is that they're going to basically use the expert witnesses and all of the expert testimony from said witnesses and all of the evidence that the state has against them to prove that he's innocent. That's what it's been from the very, very beginning that he's been telling us anyway. Let's see, where were we? Yeah, okay. Bryan Kohberger admits, nope, I already skipped that one. Okay. Taylor confirmed that Kohberger was out driving late November 13th, late November 12th, and into November 13th. The 4 U of I students were murdered during the early hours of November 13th in a home on King Road. Taylor wrote that Kohberger has long had a habit of going for drives alone. Mr. Kohberger is not claiming to be at a specific location at a specific time. Okay, so I'm just, again, like, I know I'm like reading all these, but they're not, these aren't saying anything bad. I expected them to put the stuff in there about how, oh, he was out there stargazing and all the like real sarcastic stuff. Where is all of that? Where is all of the sarcastic boo-boo bullshit that came from this alibi? Because this just sounds like normal stuff. Document claims Kohberger was an avid hiker and runner that would often go on drives during the nighttime. There's nothing wrong with any of these things that they're saying right now. Taylor claimed the cell phone data showed Kohberger was driving the morning. I mean, yeah, he's admitted that. Defense plans to offer testimony from Cyber. They did that, and all the location and time-specific information is poof, not there. Okay, Kohberger defense intends to offer the testimony of Cyray, expert cell phone tower information to show that he was south of Pullman, west of Moscow, and that Kohberger did not travel east on the Moscow-Pullman highway. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with any of this stuff. I'm really trying to figure out like why this is in here, because this is supposed to be supporting the change of venue. And while I agree, it's hella saturated because of the media coverage, I'm not seeing in here what I'm expecting to be seeing for it to be proof at all. Prosecutor in the Bryan Kohberger case says the murder suspect's alibi is not specific enough to serve as a proper alibi defense. I mean, that's an opinion a lot of people have because it's not specific and there's no people. Defendant offering nothing new in his initial alibi. He also asked judge to prohibit anyone other than Kohberger to testify about his alibi. Yeah, that's old news too. Ingrid Beatty, the Idaho Deputy Attorney General who was assisting the prosecution, said she is confused about how cell tower data can support this alibi defense. Well, Cyray is going to help you with that one. So there's nothing here. There was nothing in that whole thing. There's nothing in that whole thing right here that is anything like what I thought it would be. Like, why isn't he saying people were mocking his alibi by talking about how he was out stargazing and all this other crazy stuff. Because, I mean, I can literally see Ashley Banfield rolling her eyes and making a mockery of it right now in my head. So how come they're not using that? This is all like pretty decent stuff that they're talking about here. I really thought that they would do better than that. I don't really find any of those things to argue about, honestly. Maybe, but I mean, like, what are they in here for? Because this whole thing is supposed to be a memorandum in support of. And I really figured he would have gone after the real, like, assholes who were making fun of the whole, like, stargazing situation. So it's crazy to me that they didn't go farther with that. Interesting. All right, I'm going to shut this down in about 5 minutes just so you guys know. Actually, let's just go ahead and pause it right now because we're about to get into another section right here. Let me write this down. And I know that some of y'all will probably go to another channel or whatever and finish this up tonight or have it finished by the time I go live tomorrow. But this is where I'm going to have to stop. And I'm still going to go live tomorrow and finish it because I need to have all of this done. I'm not reading another freaking word once I get off of here. So we're going to just do, yeah, I'm getting off now. I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. My eyes like twitching even more. I'm actually just going to like close this off now because we're just going to do this later. We're going to finish this tomorrow. I'm going to put my whole thing up here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm done with this for now. We're going to finish this tomorrow. There's like well over 100 and something pages left. So I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it tonight. I'm going to finish it tomorrow. Yeah, it's very repetitive, which is what I'm kind of getting annoyed with. I honestly, I don't know if I want to finish reading all of it or if I want to just like go through and get the important stuff because I'm repeating myself 20,000 times about the exact same thing because it's articles that this person found that pertain to a certain subject. So it's all just like the same verbiage over and over and over and over. It's very repetitive. Very repetitive. Insane. Very repetitive. Insane and very repetitive. I use way too much coconut oil in my hair. I feel like I'm going to have to rewash my hair. But yeah, it is almost 10 o'clock at night. We've been going on this for 3.5 hours. Yeah, definitely going to finish it tomorrow. Yeah, it's a lot. It seems like it's a lot. I get off at 4:30 and I need to make sure that food is good to go and all those things. Let's see. Let me think. And I need to go run to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree and me are besties. I will probably go live at 6:30 again. I'm pretty sure it'll be 6:30. Hey, Deborah. I mean, this is so much documentation. It's insane. Like I've been kind of like waiting, for a drop. I'm going to. My hair doesn't hold, guys. I've done so much to my hair my whole life. And like, see this right here? Like in all actuality, I need to chop this shit off like this much. And I don't want to. I really don't want to cut my hair. But I feel like I'm going to have to because I don't really keep color anymore. Like all of this is basically like non-bleached, what you could call like virgin hair. To me, virgin hair. Because it's not bleached. It's just had a deposit put on it. But I need to do something. But yeah, it'll probably be 6:30 in the morning. Not 6:30 in the morning. Oh my goodness. Let me put a period. It'll probably be 6:30 period in the morning. I will create the live stream link. I'm going to go ahead and today and I'm going to do like a part 1 on the thumbnail just so that people know that it's not the whole document because I don't want anybody getting on here and thinking it's the full document today because I'm definitely stopping at page 179 and I wrote it down. Oh, geez. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. That's funny. That's funny. No, not tonight. Not tonight. When I get off work tomorrow, because I clock out at like 4:30, and that gives me like 2 hours to get kids situated, dinner done, run to the store, all the things. Will be all right. I'm gonna have to read that because that's the movie thing they're talking about. But it's not his book that's coming out for Christmas as a movie. It's what's his face is Blooms. I don't know. I think so. Pretty positive. Pretty sure we're all central here. Henna color? Maybe. I heard it's like more natural. Oh my goodness. So it's like barely after lunchtime. That's great. Ron Howard, yeah, that guy. Yeah. Yep. Okay. That was a lot. We're going to finish it tomorrow. Cannot believe it is almost 10 o'clock. You guys are champions. And I won't be heartbroken if y'all go and cheat and look at all the rest. Yeah. I was born there. I'm from Kerrville. Huh? Oh no. Oh no. I've got fishies. That'd be so sad. 11. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock here. Okay, too busy. We're funny. All right. I'm going to close this off. I'm going to do my little like, subscribe, exit, intro, whatever little thingy-mabobber, and then go eat some white beans and ham that have been teasing my nose for hours because they've been in the crock pot all day and I'm starving. So have a good night. Sweet dreams. We will do this tomorrow. I will put the link up in the morning, 6:30 p.m. Central Time as whenever I will go live to finish these crazy amounts of documents. Y'all have a great night. Thank you so much for being here. Interesting drop today. Interesting information. Sweet dreams, you guys. And see y'all. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already.